$500,000 policy for a 40-year-old male starting at $1 a day or $30 a month with a few health questions and no medical exam. Get your free quote right now at checkethos.com. That's checkethos.com. Not available in all states. Rates do vary.
What's up, KC? It's Trent McDuffie. Catch the play-by-play all season long with Mitch, Danon, and Clean right here on your home of the Chiefs. 96.5 The Fan.
KFNZ FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station. Nobody in Kansas City has sports like 96.5 The Fan.
Right side throw, touchdown! Kansas City! A 3-yard touchdown pass in overtime! Kansas City wins the game!
Welcome into The Drive with Carrington Harrison.
Back-to-back best sports talk hosts as voted on in the Pitch magazine.
Live from the Fan Studios. Here's CDOT.
Let's do this. Another day, another dollar, another edition of The Drive. You were listening to The Drive on 96.5 The Fan, 96.5thefan.com, and also the Odyssey app. My name is Carrington Harrison. Excited, thrilled, delighted to be here with you on this wonderful Wednesday. We have so much to get into coming up in about 10 minutes or so. I will admit to you that I was I'm not going to fully admit I was wrong about something, but there is a chance, there is a percentage chance that I was wrong about something. I will tell you what that is. We also, over the course of the next 3 days, are going to visit each of the local colleges. Today, we are going to start with KU. Their basketball team is ranked number 1, and, well, they're still playing football. We'll catch up in Lawrence coming up in just a bit. We're also going to head to New York and learn a little bit more about Mike Williams. Is he available for a trade? How much does he have left in the tank? And what went wrong with the New York Jets? We'll find all of that out over the course of the show. We didn't get a lot of time yesterday to talk about Devontae Adams. We'll get to that. We'll also talk about Jerry Jones, who, let's just say, he mad. There is so much to get into in today's show. We're appreciative of you being here. Before we get to any of those things, take it away, Rob.
Pizza time on The Drive. Carrington, dial me up right now. Caller number 6, 913-586-7965. Caller number 6 wins a pizza from our friends over at Pizza Tassio. Pizza Tassio is Kansas City's best New York-style pizza, and they have taken over the town. They lovingly use 100% whole milk mozzarella, all organic tomato sauce with locally grown fresh ingredients, all made by KC guys who both know and love pizza. So whether you're in the mood for a whole pie or just a slice or two, be sure to visit them now at pizzatasio.com. That's pizzatascio.com.
I need you guys to do me a couple of favors. Number one, I need you listening to The Drive each day at 2 o'clock right here on 96.5 The Fan. I also need you to tell one friend. I don't need you to tell two friends that if you want some of the best pizza in Kansas City and you're also excited about the baseball playoffs, the best place to get excited about all of those things, yes, I'm still watching the baseball playoffs, even with no Royals. It's right here with us on 96.5 The Fan. All right, I want to start today's show a little bit differently than we usually would. So we started off the very beginning of the week talking about the idea of culture and how important establishing and building that culture is to your organization. I got this idea from Mitch Holthus, and we were talking about the Jets and the Raiders and some of the other teams around the league. Here is what Mitch Holthus had to say to us about culture and what separates the Chiefs from the other teams in the National Football League.
There is such a strong infrastructure. When you look at Brett Veach and the comprehensive, not only the talent, but the work ethic of his staff, the way they handle the cap, the way that they work and find guys. You alluded to it with Juju and Kareem Hunt and Samaje Perine assimilating into the system so quickly. That part of that is Brett Veach and his staff. A lot of it is the coaching staff of Andy Reid. No team, in fact, it's hard to look at all of professional sports. Who has a better infrastructure when you look at a personnel department, a coaching staff, and Hall of Fame folks than the Kansas City Chiefs right now? Who in the NBA would have it? Me? I don't know. Who would it be? But it goes back to an incredible, unshakable infrastructure that's there that has enough wiggle room that it deals with flashpoints like the Chiefs are now. We're living something really incredible right now. Who in baseball has the infrastructure that the Chiefs would have at this point? Who in hockey's got it? I mean, it's just you ask the question, and to me, it's undeniably the Chiefs in how solid they are at every point of the star.
So I've been thinking a lot about that and culture, and I also went back, and I don't think many people have pointed this out or noticed this, how important the 2022 offseason was even back then and how much it has shaped today's National Football League. Let's go back and take a closer look at the 2022 offseason, and we have some time to do that because of the Chiefs bye week. That was the offseason in which we saw the AFC West make almost every single decision with the Kansas City Chiefs in mind. Think back to that offseason. You saw the Los Angeles Chargers. They traded a second-round pick for Khalil Mack. They also went out and they signed J.C. Jackson, who I thought was the best defensive player on the board. He was the top corner available. The Chargers went out and got him. They also re-signed Mike Williams to a 3-year, $60 million deal. So think about that. In the course of just 2 years, we have gone from Mike Williams signing a 3-year, $60 million deal to him playing for the Jets and now thinking that he could be on the Chiefs on a nothing contract. That's how quickly things have turned around. The Chargers have also fired their head coach since 2022. So the Chargers made every decision with the Kansas City Chiefs in mind. None of it worked out for them. Let's go to Las Vegas. That also was a very important offseason for the Las Vegas Raiders. The Raiders that offseason signed Derek Carr to an extension. This was in the 2022 offseason. He now is finishing up his second year with the New Orleans Saints. That's how quickly things turned for Vegas. They paid Derek Carr 3 years, $121 million. They bring in Davante Adams. They do all of these things to try to stop Kansas City. Derek Carr now plays for the Saints. Davante Adams now plays for the New York Jets. They also signed Max Crosby to a big-time deal. They signed Chandler Jones to a big-time deal. They also got Josh McDaniels that offseason as well. Think about that. In the 2022 offseason, the head coach of the Chargers was Brandon Staley. The head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders was Josh McDaniels. The head coach of the Broncos was Nathaniel Hackett. All of them are gone. The Broncos that offseason, they made the trade for Russell Wilson. They gave Russell Wilson the biggest extension that we had seen a quarterback sign, 5 years, $242 million. Randy Gregory signed a big deal, and they signed Nathaniel Hackett. All three teams in the AFC West made moves to try to catch up to Kansas City, and almost every single one of those moves failed. Buffalo that offseason made the big move to go get Von Miller. They felt like that was the piece that could get them potentially over the hump. You know what the Chiefs did in 2022 and how the Chiefs have stayed ahead of all of these teams and how the Chiefs continue to be the Chiefs and how well the Chargers are still the Chargers, the Raiders are still the Raiders, and the Broncos are the Broncos? That offseason, the Kansas City Chiefs drafted exceptionally well. They got Trent McDuffie with their first pick. They got George Karlaftis with their second pick. Brian Cook was in that draft class. Leo Chenal was in that draft class. Jalen Watson was in that draft class. Isaiah Pacheco. So these other teams went out and spent big money in free agency and spent big draft picks to go get this player, and we got to sign Von Miller, and we got to sign Chandler Jones, and we got to keep Max Crosby. We got to do all those things. The Chiefs lost Tyreek Hill that offseason. They drafted exceptionally well, and the Chiefs have won the Super Bowl every year since that offseason. The Chargers have taken a step back. They've hired a new coach. The Raiders have, well, they've been the Raiders. They have had multiple head coaches during that time frame. Broncos, disaster. We got to look back at the 2022 offseason of where the Chiefs took a turn towards being a dynasty, and some of these organizations continue to stay in the same place that they've been for the last 5, 7, 10 years or so. It also was the offseason of wide receiver. That was the offseason that the Chiefs traded Tyreek Hill to the Miami Dolphins. Davante Adams got traded. A.J. Brown got traded. Hollywood Brown also got traded during the draft that year for a first-round pick. And we also saw 6 wide receivers get selected in round 1, the most that there ever have been in the NFL draft. The 2022 offseason was a very pivotal offseason in the National Football League and explains how we got here. You can see how the Eagles made the Super Bowl. They had a quarterback. They went out. They spent a first-round pick. They traded for A.J. Brown. And look, A.J. Brown was the best offensive player for them as they made it to the Super Bowl. Vegas tried to go all in to catch up with Kansas City, reuniting Derek Carr and Devontae Adams. 2 years later, neither of those players are still with the organization. The Bills went out and they got Von Miller. I don't even know if Von Miller is still in the league. Is he making plays for Buffalo? It has been a negative contract. They have been upside down on that deal from the moment it's been signed. This week, to me, some things have stood out. Thinking more about culture and how do you build a culture that you can have lasting success. And also, we had an offseason, and it wasn't that long ago, that almost all of the teams that you would consider to be the rivals of Kansas City did everything in their power to try to catch up. And none of those teams over the course of the last 2.5 years have been close to keeping up with Kansas City. The Chargers are no closer now than they were 2 off seasons ago. The Raiders are further away than they were. The Broncos are further away. And Buffalo, for all the moves that they've made, and they've made some really impressive moves, going out to get Amari Cooper. They tried to go get Von Miller. They've done these various things. Man, Buffalo is still in the same spot that they've been in 2-3 off seasons later. Coming up on the other side, I will tell you one thing that I got wrong this offseason. That's coming up. Keep it right here, so Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
The Chiefs, Cardinals, Royals, Blues, and our 2 soccer teams, the Current and St. Louis City SC, are all endorsing Amendment 2. Here's why you should support it too. Right now, Missouri sports fans are taking their money and placing their bets in Kansas and Illinois. We're losing our money to other states, money that could be invested in our schools. Amendment 2 fixes that. By legalizing sports betting, Amendment 2 will generate over $100 million for Missouri schools over the next 5 years. And there's a strong constitutional guarantee ensuring the revenue from sports betting will go to education. Kansas and Illinois know sports betting is a winner for their fans and taxpayers. It's time for Missouri to get into the game. Amendment 2 means over $100 million for Missouri schools. Join the Chiefs, Cardinals, Royals, Blues, Current, and St. Louis City SC in supporting Amendment 2. Paid for by Winning for Missouri Education, Mike Pridmore, Treasurer.
Calling all Kansas City football fans to downtown Las Vegas. Join us at Circa Resort and Casino this October for the ultimate game day getaway. Huddle up at Overhang Bar with 96.5 The Fan for our pregame tailgates on Fridays with drink specials and giveaways, including a pair of game day tickets. Then catch all the action at the world's largest sportsbook or lounge in the center of it all at America's favorite place to watch football, Stadium Swim, featuring 6 pools and a massive 143-foot screen. To book your Huddle Up experience, visit CircaLasVegas.com today.
Hey friends, it's noisy out there with information coming at us all day, every day. It's hard to know what to trust, and the world of wealth management is no exception. That's why UMB Private Wealth Management helps you tune out the noise and tune into what matters most. They'll create a financial plan based on your unique goals, so it's your voice that comes through loud and clear. Get financial clarity. Go to umb.com/privatewealth to schedule an appointment. That's umb.com/privatewealth.
I'm a call with Lee Summit Subaru, and our hotline is open. Annie from Kansas City, what's on your mind?
I want a dealership that I can trust for a lifetime. Is that you?
We're Google's highest review-rated and only locally owned Subaru retailer in Kansas City. That's a good start.
I just want a great deal. That's all.
How about 0% financing on select 2025 Subaru models? That'll get you a low monthly payment. Fall in love with driving again at Lee Summit Subaru.
Google highest review-rated Subaru retailer in Kansas City based on 2023 Google Analytics.
Dick Ray, he's your cooling magician. Dick Ray, he's a man on a mission. When it's hot and humid, your AC's failing and it's causing quite the fuss. There's an AC expert you know that you can trust. He's there for us. Call Dick Ray, he's your cooling magician.
Hey, it's It's Dick Ray. Schedule your AC tune-up, only $79. 913-DICK-RAY.
If you've been thinking about selling your home, what's holding you back? Whether it's a bad experience or even a lack of experience, home selling can be stressful. The key is to trust an expert who has your best interest at heart, and that's Dawn Sharp and the Sharp Homes team, brokered by Epic Realty. Dawn is the only agent I would trust if I needed to sell my home, and she can even give you an instant offer if you want to skip the showings. Google my friend Dawn and her team at Sharp Homes Team and see over 200 5-star reviews, or check them out at homesforsaleandkc.com and start packing.
I'm Brian Tedesco, CEO of Blaupunkt Americas, the pioneers of the car stereo. Today, we're not just about sound systems. We are revolutionizing the e-bike scene with Blue Dot Bike. Thanks to AmericanEagle.com, our online presence now features a dynamic e-commerce website that showcases the quality and affordability of our foldable e-bikes. And our collegiate e-bikes, just perfect for the college fanatic. These e-bikes offer a new way to experience freedom on two wheels, no matter your age. When we needed a top-notch website to match our cutting-edge e-bikes, we turned to AmericanEagle.com. They made the impossible seem easy, tackling digital challenges like pros. Check out the Blue Dot Bike website to see AmericanEagle.com's amazing work in action. Need the best in website and digital marketing solutions? AmericanEagle.com is your go-to. They've been a game changer for us, and they can be for you too. Visit AmericanEagle.com or call 877-WEB-NOW-1. That's 877-WEB-NOW-1.
The best things in life, they come in twos. 2 scoops of ice cream, 2 tacos. And now for a limited time, get our best deal of the year. Buy any phone when you switch to Consumer Cellular and get 2 months of service free. That's right, the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage as Big Wireless, now with 2 months free. Proof the best things in life really do come in twos. Visit ConsumerCellular.com or call 1-888-FREEDOM. Second and third month of monthly base service fee waived for new customers with the purchase of a phone and activation by September 2nd, 2024. Taxes, fees, and third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer whenever I want?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. 94% of Sleep Number smart sleepers report better sleep. And now, during our biggest sale of the year, save 50% on the Sleep Number limited edition smart bed. Plus free home delivery on select smart beds when you add any base. Ends Labor Day. To find a store near you, visit sleepnumber.com.
A Gain Scent Bead story. Jim was at the laundromat when he heard his ear said Maraca, senor, but his nose said, hey, freshest scent ever. Following his nose, Jim found a man pouring a bottle of Gain Scent Beads into the washer. The scent, the freshness. Jim blurted, sir, your scent Maraca smell amazing. Actually, Jim, most noses call them Gain Scent Beads. Try Gain Scent Beads, way fresher than detergent alone.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios. He goes by many names: Carrington, Charger Dot, Champion Dot. But now, it's time for him to ruin your day with the name that fits him best: Contrarian Dot.
Bigger buzzkill than Buzz Killington.
You know what? We have turned this segment into the fact that the C can stand for so many different things. Today, it is not Contrarian Dot. I'm going back to my original name, and I know what some of you are thinking, Chargers Dot. No, I am not Chargers Dot. In fact, I don't want anything to do with the Los Angeles Chargers. That's not who I am. I told you guys a couple of days ago that I have officially switched over. I'm denouncing the Chargers, and I've picked up a new team.
Those haters can't stand us. Left hand up. Who are we? The Commanders.
So if you're going to call me another team name, please call me the correct C team name. It is Commanders Dot. But that's not what the purpose of this segment is. The purpose of this segment is to tell you that once again, I possibly was wrong about the Chiefs corner situation. Now, I wasn't overly panicked about it, but I remember there was a time, and it wasn't that long ago, that you guys were telling me that Snead was the best corner in the league. And I was thinking, wait, so you're telling me that you think the Chiefs lost the best corner in the league and they're still going to be perfectly fine in the room? Those two things didn't compute to me. I doubted it. I was not a full and total believer. But you know what today? I just typed in Jalen Watson Pro Football Focus because I was curious to see what the numbers said. We looked up the Pro Football Focus numbers on L'Jarius Sneed, and they were not favorable for L'Jarius Sneed. In fact, he has been one of the 10 worst corners in the National Football League since leaving this defense, since leaving Spags, since leaving this system. So I was curious. I wanted to see how Jalen Watson was doing. I knew that Trent McDuffie was balling out on the other side, but I didn't know about Jalen Watson until I did my Googles. Well, did you know that on Pro Football Focus, there are 184 corners who qualify for a Pro Football Focus grade? So they have played enough football this year, 184. Jalen Watson ranks 42nd on that list. When it comes to pass rush and getting after the quarterback, he's 65th, so he's a little bit better than league average at it. When it comes to coverage this year, out of the 184 corners, he's 33rd this year. He's top 25 in tackles this year. He's been pretty good about not giving up a lot of catches. Hasn't given up a touchdown. You know what? Jalen Watson has played really, really good this year. You know what? I am willing to stand before you and say, I was wrong. And I doubted and I had questions about the Chiefs' cornerback room that I didn't need to have. I am here to tell you, text line 913-586-7965, that you were right. This isn't even underhanded. This isn't even something shady. No, I stand before you. I stand before you that are watching this on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, wherever you are watching this. I want to look in the camera and tell you I was wrong. You were right. You said this wasn't something that I needed to worry about, that we didn't need to spend any time thinking about it, worrying about it, that they had it figured out. And you know what? They did. They had it figured out. Trent McDuffie is maybe the best young corner in the league, certainly on the short list. Jalen Watson has been a very strong number 2 corner, and their defense has not missed a beat despite some of the changes that have been made. Sneed is off to Tennessee. They lost Willie Gay. They don't have Charles Omenihu right now as he continues to recover from his knee injury. And the defense is still arguably the best in the National Football League. So for today's CDOT segment, this is not me being a contrarian. This is me showing contrition, contrite dot. I'm here asking for your apology, and I'm telling you that I'm sorry for doubting him. I'm sorry for telling you that you should have had any level of concern. Jalen Watson, he's been very good so far, Rob.
I mean, I feel like I have told you over and over and over, almost ad nauseum at this point. Brett Veach does a lot of things well. The thing he has proven over and over and over and over and over again that he has done the best is just make cornerback work.
No, that's fair. You're right.
Every time we've had these conversations, and it has been a couple different off seasons. In 2022, the offseason we opened the show talking about, you were big on, hey, go sign. Who was you wanted them to go sign? Was it Slay? I forget the corner you wanted them to sign.
James Bradbury.
James Bradbury. I knew it was an Eagle. You
hold on.
The guy who committed the holding in the Super Bowl. That's right, James Bradbury.
Every time this comes up and people say, well, you wanted them to get James Bradbury. He was first team All-Pro that year. It's not like I've been saying, hey, let's go get this guy, and he turned out to be a bum. I said, let's go get a guy, and he was one of the 5 best corners in the league that year. I don't think I was wrong that year about James Bradbury. Sometimes both people can be right. That's right. Both people can be right.
My point was that offseason I said they drafted 3. They're not bringing in a veteran. Trust the 3. Trent McDuffie is now one of the best corners in the league, and Jalen Watson, Joshua Williams, solid players. This last offseason, you were saying a lot of the same stuff. We're trusting Najee just maybe bring someone in. That's all I'm saying. And you know what? They didn't bring anyone in, and yet again, at corner, they are fine. I don't know if it's Spags. I don't know if it's Veach. I don't know if it's both. It could be all the above. It could be dumb luck. I don't know what the answer is. But every time they have appeared on paper deficient at corner, they seem to find a guy in the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th round.
No, they do.
And they turn him into a star. And they know what they're going to do? They're going to walk on him and restart the process. McDuffie will be different because he's a first rounder. But they walked on Sneed. They restarted the process. They will eventually walk on Watson. They'll restart the process. They walked on everyone, and you know what they do? They just keep restarting the process. Charvarius Ward, we can name corner after corner. This is what they do.
Text line 913-586-7965. I just want to tell you guys that I was potentially wrong about corner and Jalen Watson. You know what? Jalen Watson has been one of the 10 best players on the team so far this season. So you know what? I will step back. I will not mention anything else about the corners or them going out and making a move. I'll wait until the offseason. I'm sure we will revisit this conversation again at some point. I don't think there's any reason to revisit it now. I have conceded. I've gone ahead and I've cashed out. You guys bet. We're not even going to let the game finish. You know what? Just come to the window right now and collect your coin. You guys win that bet. You're not going to get me very often on this show, but I'm willing to give you that one. I do have a question to you, Rob, because this kind of goes in they've got a plan at wide receiver. Last year, they had a plan at wide receiver. But even though they won the Super Bowl, I would still say that their plan failed at wide receiver. I mean, this team was invested in Kadarius Toney. It didn't work out. This team spent a top pick on Sky Moore. It hasn't worked out. Like, you can do the wrong things and still things work out. Like, it worked out because of other things that were really good about their team. It didn't work out at wide receiver. This is maybe the thing, and I don't know if confused is the right term, but follow me here. I don't know why every Chiefs fan isn't on board with them making a move at wide receiver. Maybe this is just, and I think you're guilty of this too, Rob, that we just overvalue draft picks. And I'm not sitting here advocating that the Chiefs trade their first-round draft pick to go get somebody, or even their second-round pick to go get somebody. But the Chiefs right now have 2 third-round picks. You have Tennessee's third-round pick because of the Snead trade. You also have your own third-round pick. I don't know why the consensus with every Chiefs fan wouldn't be, we are in a position to do something that no team in the history of the NFL has done. And the purpose of draft picks is to use those as assets to strengthen your roster. And you can do that in a multitude of ways. You can use that to trade for Frank Clark. Or you can take that second-round pick and draft Nick Bolton. Or draft Rashee Rice. Or whatever you need the draft pick to be. The Chiefs have a need at wide receiver now. They're going to have a need in March, and you'll have another third-round pick to fill that need. You'll have cap space available to fill that need. But right now in the middle of the season, with the trade deadline coming up in less than 3 weeks, you have an opportunity to improve your roster and your chances now. Why do you think the consensus with everybody is not just go do it? And sometimes it does feel like there is a challenge going on. You know, like we had the milk crate challenge or the mannequin challenge. Sometimes I feel like we try to have let's see how few pieces Patrick Mahomes can win the championship with. No, I want Patrick Mahomes handing the ball off to David Montgomery. I want him handing the ball off to Jahmyr Gibbs. I want him throwing it to Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jameson Williams. Like, I want to give Patrick Mahomes more things. I don't want to see what Patrick Mahomes looks like when you give him less and less options and see if we can still keep winning championships with them. No. While you have a couple of guys down right now, spend that third-round pick or be willing to maneuver and wheel and deal and go find a wide receiver that you think can pair and can help you go win another Super Bowl.
I might overvalue draft picks, and that's fine. But you know what? I stand by the Chiefs' process. I have decided that I'm going to be process-driven on this show, not results-driven. And the Chiefs' process, I think, is smart. And the results are working, too, to differing extents. They are largely keep draft assets in their pocket team, like the premium ones. And you know what? When they do spend, I understand the logic. I can disagree with it, but I understand the process. They took a second-round pick and they tried to get Sky Moore. It missed, but a second-round pick on wide receiver, process-wise, is smart. They traded a third-round pick from a former first-round player they felt they could rehab. I disagreed with the player. I disagreed with the compensation, but the process made sense to me. Hey, we're going to try to get years of control. If we're trading up years of control, we're giving up years of control. They're giving up 6th and 7th round picks for rental players. I sometimes disagree with that, but that process makes sense to me. Give up a lottery ticket for 6 months of a player. I understand what you're saying. I may be overvaluing draft picks, but if the process the Chiefs use over at One Arrowhead Drive is we want controllable assets long term, then I don't want them trading first, second, and third round picks for Amari Cooper today. Because at the end of this season, three-peat or no three-peat, you know what's going to happen? They're going to play football next year. They're going to have to field a roster. And it's not just, as much as fans tell me they love a three-peat and that's all that matters, if the Chiefs got three-peat and then went 8-9, no one in town would be happy. So you know what? The Chiefs' process is always be building and always keeping that window open. And if that means you're pocketing picks and not giving it up for rental players like Devontae Adams or Amari Cooper in the first, second, and third round, I'm on board with their process. Because as much as winning now matters, winning tomorrow and winning the year after, as long as Patrick Mahomes is your quarterback, matters just as much.
This is where I disagree, and I think that we all do this. I don't think this is just a you thing. I think this is sports fans. We all say that we appreciate the process and not the results. I mean, Carolina did what everybody says they want you to do. They found and identified who their quarterback was. They used the assets to go draft said quarterback. Everybody is going to be fired because of that decision. So I do think there is a balance of we agree with the process until the process fails and then the results are so bad that you have to do it. Cleveland identified who their quarterback was. They signed him to a long-term extension. The deal has just turned out to be terribly wrong, and now we think that everybody is going to be fired. This is the thing. Text line 913-586-7965. There are two things that I just personally strongly push back on. This is the first thing. CDOT, the Chiefs have a long-term view. Hollywood will be back before the playoffs, and Rashee Rice might be back before the playoffs as well. There's no need to mortgage the future for a 5% better chance that could potentially hurt us in the long term. On ESPN.com right now, they have the headline, Chiefs wide receiver Rashee Rice undergoes surgery on injured knee, and his timeline to return is expected to be around 10 to 12 months. If you are expecting in any possible way that Rashee Rice is going to play this season, you are wrong. Andy Reid just came out and said earlier this week that they are treating it like he tore his ACL. I know that we have taken incredible advances in modern medicine. You do not tear your ACL in September and play football in December. That ain't how that works. So Rashee Rice, if you were counting on, they'll be fine. No, at least in regards of Rashee Rice, they will not be fine. Also, why I continue to think that they need to go get somebody. If you are counting on Juju, so someone else said, Juju just got 100 yards. Maybe you're wrong about them. Juju has played 16 games in his career. One time over the last 5 years. Are you also confident that McCole Hardman is going to hold up over the course of the next 3-4 months of football? So some of my feeling on this is not just simply they don't have enough in the room. I do think they don't have enough in the room because they only really have 4 wide receivers, and you're talking about playing another 4 months of football. But not just that. It's also who is in that room. Are you counting on Juju to hold up? Are you counting on McCole Hardman to hold up? So some of my feelings is just, again, they don't have enough, and I don't think they're talented enough in that room. The other feeling is, man, they got a lot of guys who their history and track record says that they're going to get hurt at some point. That's just what their track record says. McCole's track record says that he is going to miss time at some point over the course of the next couple of months. Juju's track record tells you that you're going to lose him at some point over the next couple of months. Xavier Worthy is a $185 soaking wet. You got to keep all of those guys healthy between now and the end of the season. That's just going to be a really difficult job to keep all of those guys healthy. So again, maybe this team doesn't go out there and spend the big asset. Then go get Mike Williams, go get Darius Slayton, give yourself a couple of more options. So if you lose McCole Hardman for a couple of weeks, you're covered. The Chiefs, I would say right now, have pretty decent depth everywhere on their roster. This team could even handle a Patrick Mahomes injury for the next couple of weeks. What does this team do if they lose Juju for the next 3 weeks? What do they do if they lose Xavier Worthy for the next couple of weeks? They could live with not having Travis Kelce for the next couple of weeks because you got Noah Gray, because you got Jarrett Wiley, because you brought back Jody Fortson. Right now, they have absolutely no depth in their wide receiver room. And they've also given me no reason to think that they think that Nico Remigio and Justin Ross are also part of that equation to be that depth that we're talking about. Justin Ross still can't get on the field. Nico Remigio still can't get on the field. So at least that's where I am, Rob, when we're talking about this position and what I think they need to do. If you were counting on Rashee Rice, stop. He's not coming back this season. I'm not saying he's gone forever. He's just not magically popping up like T.O. in the Super Bowl to play. No, that's not how this works. And I'm also not going to hold out hope. I don't know if Hollywood Brown is going to come back or not. And you talk about going a long time without playing football. When was Hollywood Brown's last game where he played in full? I know he played in the preseason game and got injured. We're talking about he's going to go from January to possibly December and not play football at all and just be ready for the postseason. That just feels like you were just trying to thread something through a very, very thin needle, and I would just like to give yourself a little bit more margin for error than that.
So first things first, and I will talk to you about trading for wide receiver in a minute. I want to address this. Are there people, I see on the text line, that truly believe Rashee Rice is coming back in the playoffs? There is absolutely no reporting, none, since his surgery that indicates he is back in January or February. Rashee Rice is done for the season. Like, if you are somehow holding out hope or optimism or whatever, we talked on this show about when does he play football next, because if he's healthy in 12 months and then gets suspended, it might be, October-ish of next year before we see him on a field again? That's just the harsh reality of the situation. So I want this to be clear. Rashee Rice is not back for some magic T.O. Super Bowl game. He's done. I agree with you, they need to bolster the room. We just disagree on what needs to be done to bolster it. I think a trade for Darius Slayton is probably the best case scenario. Maybe Deontay Johnson, but they seem like six in one hand, half dozen in the other. And I know Johnson has more name cachet, but if you really delve into his numbers, they are extremely target-driven, more so than he's just some dynamic wideout. And it's probably a fifth and a pick swap, and you get that wideout. I don't see them taking the big swing. I don't see them going after DeAndre Hopkins. I don't see them getting Calvin Ridley. I don't see them getting Jerry Jeudy, as much as, boy, I'd love Jerry Jeudy. You know how I love Jerry Jeudy. Failed Broncos wideouts. That's my niche. But it is going to be a Slayton or Deontay Johnson type, and that is fine for all the reasons you've said. They need depth in the room. I don't think they are finding a one-of-one type A, oh man, I can't believe we added that guy, watch out NFL. I don't think that's happening. But I am all for bolstering via depth with a player that's more established than Remigio or Justin Ross, or even if they had traded back for Amir Smith-Marset. Those are not answers, but I do not think they're going to break the bank to get it done, because that does not feel in line with how this organization has handled this season so far.
Text line 913-586-7965. CDOT, didn't Adrian Peterson come back really early from an ACL tear? I mean, kinda. It's a little bit different. Adrian Peterson tore his ACL in December of 2011 and then played week 1 in 2012. So, yeah, he tore his ACL in December and then played in September of the next year. Very, very different than I think what we are talking about here with Rashee Rice, where you think that he can tear his ACL in September and then be ready to play for this team in January. You do not recover from that injury that quickly. No, it's going to take a minimum of 6 months, I think, before you can have that conversation about him coming back, feeling strong enough in his knee, can cut, protect himself, and do all the things that you need him to do. So I'm just not counting on Rashee Rice being back to help this team. I do have a question really quickly, and coming up in a bit, we're going to head to Lawrence, Kansas, and be joined by Michael Swain, who covers the Jayhawks. Every day this week, we're going to do a kind of State of the Union, just figure out where we are with the 3 local schools, KU, K-State, and Missouri. Today is KU, tomorrow is Missouri, and Friday will be K-State. Who do you think had a worse week, Nick Sirianni or Jerry Jones?
Jerry Jones. At least Nick Sirianni won, and you can point to a W. It's an embarrassing W, but at least he won. Not only did Jerry Jones pop off, he popped off after a bad loss.
I think it's Jerry because he's in charge. I think it's Jerry because he's the boss. Nick Sirianni was kind of clapping back at fans who have clearly been clapping back at him. It was weak. I mean, Jerry Jones basically said, I got the power to get you fired because I don't like what you're asking me. Like, Jerry Jones just came off as just the biggest Karen that you have possibly ever seen. So I think it's Jerry. Like, I think Jerry's the right answer for this toss-up. I mean, both of them had a very bad week, and I don't know if you can have a worse week even if your team wins the way that Nick Sirianni did, but you're right. Jerry Jones, his team got thumped on Sunday, and he had a terrible Monday. I will be very interested to see what that interview sounds like next week when he goes back on there, because Jerry is absolutely going back on that show. And that was actually our guy, Sean Sharif, so shout out to him. He is the one that was actually asking the question to Jerry Jones whenever that whole thing happened. All right, coming up on the other side, we're going to head to Lawrence, Kansas. KU is ranked number 1 in basketball, and they are not ranked in football. We'll talk about it. Keep it right here, so drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5, The Fan, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
It's Carrington Harrison from The Drive here now on 96.5 The Fan, telling you guys about my friends over at Window World. Window World is the official window of the Kansas City Chiefs. Pick up the phone right now and call Window World today at 816-799-0820 or check out the website, windowskansascity.com. And remember this, when you call Window World, be sure to mention that you heard this on The Drive with me, and you'll be entered into a drawing for 4 Chiefs tickets during the upcoming season. You know they got some big games, and you're going to want to be there. So call my friends over at Window World. They're offering right now 36 months, same as cash financing, with approved credit. In over 20 years of business, Window World has improved the look and thermal efficiency of over 54,000 homes right here in the Kansas City metro. So pick up the phone today at 816-799-0820 for a free home estimate. Call to be entered into a drawing for 4 Chiefs tickets. Remember, Window World, simply the best for less. And the official window of your Kansas City Chiefs.
I think one of the things that patients don't realize is that when they get a joint replacement, that's not a lifetime treatment option. And they're probably, if they are a younger patient, signing up for multiple surgeries down the road.
As a physician and medical director for QC Kinetics, Dr. Caravelli's seen a pattern of trending joint pain. Prolonged medication, steroids, then surgery, possibly another surgery.
So a lot of our patients are trying to avoid or put off surgery, and this is the treatment that can help them do that.
QC Kinetics extracts your body's healing substances, concentrates them back into your aching joints to help heal and restore those areas, providing lasting relief.
Oh, I love being able to tell my patients, you know, before we do this surgery, let's try another option. Let's see if this is right for you, because now they might not have to have surgery at all.
Call today for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 816-412-6299. That's 816-412-6299. 816-412-6299.
Are you playing Roofer Roulette? That's when you bet your roof and your home on the first random roofer to ring your doorbell. Why do that when JR & Company offers a free hail and wind report online at jrstormcheck.com?
Tackle your airport parking needs at Park & Go. When it comes to airport parking, Park & Go is your MVP. Don't fumble around with uncovered parking. At Park & Go, all spots are covered, so your car is always protected from the elements. Need a quick handoff to the airport? Park & Go shuttle service is ready to take you to the terminal in no time. Covered parking, speedy shuttles, and a winning experience every time. The perfect repeat for airport parking. Reserve your spot today at bookparkandgo.com. Park & Go, family owned and operated.
This is the story of the one. As a facility technician installing a new welding station, he knows getting the ventilation right is critical for safety. That's why when questions arise, there's Grainger. Grainger offers detailed technical product information online at his fingertips, so it's easy to find what he needs. Because when it comes to safety, having answers means he and his people can breathe a little easier. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
It takes a lot to prepare for game day as a dedicated fan, and preparing the perfect tailgate meal might be most important of all. That's why Hellman's Real Mayonnaise is the MVP. Hellman's Mayonnaise is the secret to bring out the rich and creamy taste to all your game day dishes, from buffalo chicken dip to your favorite sub sandwich and everything in between. So give it a try, and mayo game day be delicious with Hellman's Real Mayonnaise. Shop at your local Walmart, Kroger, or grocery store, and add some extra deliciousness to your game day dishes this football season.
Guess what, people? Wendy's has new saucy nugs. You heard me. Wendy's nugs now come in 7 saucy flavors. Buffalo, honey barbecue, garlic parm, spicy ghost pepper. You can literally hear your taste buds after every bite. I'm serious. Listen to mine. Okay, that's just me playing with sound effects, but you got the idea. For a whole new way to nug, gotta be Wendy's.
Participating U.S. Wendy's.
All right, when it comes to getting life insurance for your family, a lot of excuses can get in the way. But ask yourself this: if something were to happen to me, who would pay the mortgage, the kids' education, and the other bills? Then forget the excuses and check out Ethos Life, the online, easy way to get life insurance in 10 minutes. Ethos has rates that you can afford, like a $500,000 policy for a 40-year-old male starting at $1 a day or $30 a month, with a few health questions and no medical exam. Get your free quote right now at checkethos.com. That's checkethos.com. Not available in all states. Rates do vary.
This afternoon, frost in the morning, then sunny with a high of 62.
Weather brought to you by Robert Half. Robert Half's recruiting professionals use their award-winning AI to connect businesses with highly skilled talent. Learn more at roberthalf.com/talent today.
Welcome to your new home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan.
Welcome back into the drive on 96.5 The Fan, 96.5thefan.com, and also the Odyssey app. Over the next 3 days, we're going to take a trip to each of the local colleges and check in to see how they are doing. KU had their bye week. They have a home game this weekend against Houston. Let's make a stop in Lawrence. Let's be joined by Michael Swain, friend of the show. He does fantastic work for 24/7 Sports, covering the Jayhawks. Mike, happy to have you back, man.
Thanks for having me on the show. Always enjoy it.
Absolutely, man. Let's start with this. We saw some renovations recently to Allen Fieldhouse. Have you seen the new renovations for yourself?
I've not seen them in person yet. We'll get the chance to view those on Friday before late night in the fog. But I've seen the photos that everyone else has seen going around. I know it's got to be a little bit of a talking point, but I think generally it is hard sometimes to maybe read too much into some photos you see. But I think some of the new scoreboard stuff in the center court is going to be really cool. I'm really interested to see what the corners look like. Like I think a lot of KU fans are, obviously, with KU taking 1,000 seats out. That's going to be a point of contention. And so I'm really interested to see what those kind of corners look like with some of the video boards there as well. So that's going to be something I'm really eager for Friday, just to see what everything kind of looks like, because Bill Self talks, on Monday very highly of it. So now everyone's going to get a chance to kind of get their own opinion.
Michael, every year we talk about how tough the Big 12 is, and it is usually loaded from top to bottom. This year, it's an even stronger year than most. This is as deep that I can remember the Big 12 being in basketball.
Oh, for sure. If you look at, whether you want to go by the preseason KenPom ratings, if you want to go by the AP poll, like the top end of the Big 12 is really strong. But then you look at kind of the middle tier of the conference, and, man, it is so much different than 8-9 years ago when you felt like it was a really good conference. But, some of the bottom feeder teams, those were maybe easy wins. I think last year showed that even those kind of bottom half, bottom third teams can still go out there, compete, and win. And, look, this year's going to be crazy. I think you look at the top of the conference, Houston, Iowa State, Arizona, Baylor, and that's all before you talk about Kansas. So the race for the Big 12 title is going to be super fascinating. A lot of it is going to come down to schedules, who plays who twice. KU's going to play Houston and Iowa State twice. That's going to be really important, but it's going to come down to how many times are kind of these top teams going to play each other twice, because then they're going to see, teams take wins off each other. But then you look at that, kind of below that tier, then you got Texas Tech. I think they're going to be solid this year. You look at Cincinnati getting ranked preseason, I think just if you look at the conference, it's going to make for some really, really fun basketball. And, I think there's a lot of talk about the college football playoff, right, and SEC teams and how many are going to get in. Man, the Big 12 may need some automatic qualifiers if you finish in the top half, because I think there are so many good teams in this conference that do deserve a spot in the NCAA tournament. It's been really fascinating to see kind of as the season unfolds how some of the resumes and how some of the teams perform and push onto that bubble.
Right now, we're talking to Michael Swaim, just kind of getting a state of the Kansas Jayhawks as we head into basketball season, which is right around the corner. We'll get to football here coming up in a bit. It's funny because last year was a great year for almost 95% of college basketball programs. KU won 23 games. They won 10 games in a very difficult league, and they were tied for fifth, and they won a tournament game. That was a down, disappointing year for Kansas. They are now ranked preseason number 1. I know we haven't got a chance to see them yet, and we will here coming up in a week, but what do you make of the offseason for KU and all of the changes that we are going to see on the court?
Yeah, it does. You know, you look at some of the past seasons and the disappointing losses Kansas has had. Bill Self has talked about the USC loss in that 2021 season that then kind of sparked that 2022 national title run. You look at the last 2 years, there have been tough losses in the NCAA tournament. Well, this offseason, I think you really saw KU go and attack the weaknesses. Last year's team didn't have a lot of shooting, didn't have a lot of creativity off the bounce, right? A lot of players that needed teammates to set up shots for them, and just not a lot of depth. And then now you look at this roster this year, and there's a very good chance someone like David Coit, who averaged over 20 points per game at his last school, is maybe your 8th, 9th man on the team. So the depth is going to be a lot better. You look at the top end of the rotation, still DeJuan Harris, Hunter Dickinson, KJ Adams. Those are your core 3. But then you're looking at Zeke Mayo, who was Summit League Player of the Year last year. He's going to be probably your starting 2 guard. AJ Storr, who I think averaged over 20 points per game or somewhere close to that at Wisconsin last year. Like, your starting lineup's going to be really good. And then you've got someone like Rylan Griffin coming from Alabama, who was a key starter on a Final Four team, who like 90% of the teams in the country would kill to have Rylan Griffin on their team as a starter. He's probably going to be your 6th man. And then you've got someone like Shaquille Moore from Mississippi State, who has played a lot of basketball. He might be your, 7th or 8th man. So you look at the depth, the shot creating that could be brought from guys like, AJ Storr, Zeke Mayo, some of the guys I mentioned. Like, this is going to be a new look team, and I'm really interested to see how the minutes look, because Bill Self has talked about wanting to have his players, some of those core guys like DeJuan, Hunter, KJ, play 30 minutes or under. Well, we haven't really seen that in the past from Bill Self. So it'll be really fascinating to see how this rotation pans out, because it has the potential to be a very deep team. I think Self's just got to trust his guys early in the season, and it's going to be another tough non-con schedule. So it's going to be a really interesting dynamic to track this.
All right, let's go from basketball to football. This season obviously has not gone the way that people would have thought that it was going to go for KU. Do you still think there's time to turn things around for KU, or is this season just lost?
Well, I think it depends on what your definition of a turnaround is. If you're thinking 6-6, that's going to be really tough, because you look at KU's schedule right now, and there's this game against Houston this week, which feels like, really the last super winnable game in terms of Kansas will be favored. Kansas will be expected to win. It's really the last one until maybe late November, because KU then goes on the road to play K-State, and they've got another bye week, and they play Iowa State, the team that's, near the top of the Big 12, playing really well right now. And then they have to go to BYU on the road after that, the other team that's at the top of the conference right now. So this schedule in the back half of the year is looking really challenging, and it's going to take a lot for KU to get back to kind of that 5, maybe 6 win type of season. And it's going to take a really strong run. I think KU is the type of team that talent-wise, can they do that? Yes. Because you look at the first half of the season, every single game there's 2 plays or 2 moments that if they go differently, KU wins. If those 2 moments start to go KU's way, if they can find ways to not turn the ball over 8 times over the next 6 games, if they can find ways on defense to get a stop in the final 2 minutes of a game, you're talking about a team that can go on and win these games. Is that what I'm expecting? No. I think right now, if you maybe pick a final record, I'm probably going to pick 4-8 maybe. I think that's probably where I'm feeling right now, just based on what the rest of the year looks like. But this is a team that still has the ability to go out and win some games. It's going to come down to them playing clean football, and they just have not done that consistently this year.
You and I have followed this business long enough to know that when things have gone as poorly as they've gone for the Jayhawks, someone usually has to answer with their job. It's not going to be the head coach and Lance Leipold. Do you think it's going to be the offensive coordinator, Jeff Grimes?
I do not. That would there would be an incredible financial outlay to move on from Jeff Grimes after this year. We're talking, millions of dollars, at least over probably 1.5. So I don't know if that's going to be the move. I think you are right. I don't know if donors will, as you are trying to fundraise for a stadium, right, you need the donors to be on board. And my feeling right now is that I think if things continue the way they are, I don't think donors are going to take status quo. And that's going to be really challenging because Lance Leipold has talked a lot about coaching continuity and how that has been something that has been a trademark for him over his career. And having to make those tough decisions is going to be really hard. And I don't know who it's going to be. I don't know how it's going to look. But I do know that if Kansas does not go to a bowl game this year, I have a hard time seeing it being everything is run back for next season.
That is Michael Swain joining us on the show today. He does fantastic work for 24/7 Sports. We take a look at the Kansas Jayhawks basketball and football. Well, Michael, I don't know how many more football conversations you and I are going to have, but we'll start to talk again right around the time that KU plays North Carolina on the hardwood.
Awesome. That sounds great. We'll talk then.
That is our guy, Michael Swain of 24/7 Sports. He covers the Jayhawks, joining us on the show. Coming up at the top of the hour, ESPN's first NFL mock draft is out. They have Shedeur as the #1 overall pick. We'll talk about it. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your new home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Fall in the Midwest is pleasant. The air is crisp, the temperatures are mild, and all is right with the world. But every one of you knows that lurking around the corner is creepy old man Winter. He wants to come into your home, put his feet up on the couch, and take over the remote. That's why you need to replace your drafty old windows with triple glass replacement windows from Thermo King. Triple glass? But weren't you told that double glass windows were all you'd ever need? Think again. Triple glass windows offer double the insulating barriers against creepy old man Winter than double glass windows. And their super strong frames are guaranteed to never twist, warp, fade, or fail. And right now, Thermo King is selling their triple glass windows for the same price as double glass. Who would do such a thing? Thermo King, that's who. So don't let this beautiful weather fool you. Protect your home from creepy old man Winter and call Thermo King today. 888-KING-WIN or online at thermokingwindows.com.
Hey, it's Carrington Harrison from The Drive here. Let me tell you about my friends over at Gates Barbecue. With 5 locations around town, you are never too far away from that classic barbecue taste. And let me tell you, Gates Barbecue, they're switching the menu up a little bit. Coming to all 5 locations, they're having the Burnt E-Mac. So with some incredible mac and cheese, they sprinkle a little Gates burn in on the top. It's delicious. They also have the Gates Chicken Link. They put that on a little hoagie bun. I have yet to try that, but the next time I go in there, I got to make sure that I get a taste of that Gates Chicken Link. So it doesn't matter if you're stopping by any one of the area locations to try out some of the new things on the menu, or you're going back to get some of the classics, some of the staples. You're getting the beef on bun. You're getting the presidential platter. You're getting the ribs. Whatever it is, you know the Gates has you on that. Or the next time you go by the grocery store, make sure you get some of the seasoning. Make sure you get some of the sauce as well to go with your grilling, or whether you're making some food for yourself at home. So remember, stop by any one of the 5 area locations. Check out the Burnt E-Mac. Check out the Gates Chicken Link. And they also have the chicken wings over at the one on the 103rd and State line. So they got it on the Missouri side. You over on the Kansas side, you can get some of the chicken wings as well. It's Gates Barbecue, doing it the old-fashioned way.
What does it mean to be the official information technology provider for the Chiefs? It means everything. Technology Group Solutions makes sure everything runs flawlessly for the millions of fans that attend games and the hundreds of millions of fans that comprise Chiefs Kingdom around the world. Technology Group Solutions can deploy that same dedication, problem solving, and incredible service to ensure your business runs smoothly. Technology Group Solutions, powering Chiefs Kingdom and ready to do the same for you.
It's Derek Johnson, and this season, Sheep Metalworkers Local Number 2 are awarding one lucky school a $15,000 facilities enrichment grant. Tell us in 100 words why your school deserves the grant at helpmymocanschool.com and make this the best school season ever.
I'm McCall with Lisa Mitsuber, and our hotline is open. Annie from Kansas City, what's on your mind?
I want a dealership that I can trust for a lifetime. Is that you?
We're Google's highest review rated and only locally owned Subaru retailer in Kansas City. That's a good start.
I just want a great deal. That's all.
How about 0% financing on select 2025 Subaru models? That'll get you a low monthly payment. Fall in love with driving again at Lisa Mitsubaru.
Google highest review rated Subaru retailer in Kansas City based on 2023 Google Analytics.
Dick Ray, he's your cooling magician. Dick Ray is a man on a mission. When it's hot and humid, your AC's failing and it's causing quite the fuss. There's an AC expert you know that you can trust. He's there for us. Call Dick Ray, he's your cooling magician.
Hey, it's Dick Ray. Clear your mainline drain, only $79. Call 913-DICK-RAY.
K-State in West Virginia, Saturday starting at 4:30 right here on your home for K-State Athletics. 96.5 The Fan, KFNC FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, in Odyssey Sports Station.
Today on ESPN, I was searching around, and you know what? They had their first mock draft that was out. I don't know about you. I'm always a sucker for the mock draft. I always click on it. I'm always curious. I wanted to see where Luther Burden was going to get selected. Wanted to see where Quinn Ewers and some of the other stars of college football. And also, I wanted to see who they had as the number one overall pick. I know that it's early, but we're in the middle of the NFL season. We're in the middle of college football, and I just was curious. Well, on ESPN's first mock draft of the year, they had Shedeur Sanders as the number one overall pick. Well, you know what? Mel Kiper, he doesn't think that Shedeur is the number one overall type. Here's what Mel Kiper had to say.
You rank them as a quarterback, like a receiver, and you put them up there, and and that protects you from overdrafting. And that's what I've tried to do. And I think you always fall into that trap of moving them up because that's where they're going to go. We know they're going to go top 10. Let's get them up into that range. You can't have that attitude. So I think with Shedeur, he's at 13, Milrose at 14, Ward's at 15. Unless something dramatic happens between now and the end of the regular season, or they get into playoffs with Milroe and you see what happens, or Cam Ward with Miami. Obviously, Shedeur's not going to be in the playoffs, but we'll see what happens then. But right now, I don't see them being worthy of being a top 10, let alone a top 5 or number 1 pick overall.
That was Mel Kiper talking about Shedeur Sanders. Rob, where are you at with Shedeur? I think Shedeur has a decent arm. I don't think it's like a great generational arm. I do worry a little bit about his durability. I mean, he's taken a lot of hits in a very short period of time. My biggest issues with Shedeur are some of the personality things that we have seen off the field. I'm not sure if your quarterback can want to be famous in the way that I think he wants to be famous. Like, if he works out as an NFL quarterback, I just think there are going to be different challenges and questions that you're going to have to ask that you don't usually have to ask for your quarterback. And that would worry me just a little bit. I also think in just watching a lot of Colorado and a lot of his game over the course of the last couple of years and watching him a little bit at Jackson State, he holds on to the ball a long time. Now, some of that is just the offensive line that they have at Colorado, and their offensive line is not good. They can't run the football, and maybe if you put him in a better structure, a better system, you get more production out of that player than what I think Colorado has, and he's been a good college player. His internal clock would just scare me in terms of him being the number 1 overall pick. You got to get the ball out of your hands really fast. You got to process information really, really fast. I haven't seen that ability from him in the NFL. I do think he's worthy of being a first-round pick because a lot of the physical traits and things that I think he can do in his pedigree. I'd be a little bit leery about drafting Shedeur Sanders, though, with the number 1 overall pick.
So I kind of land in the same way. I like Shedeur's talent. I don't think Shedeur's 1-1 talent. And if he was in last year's draft, he probably would have gone 5th, maybe 4th. I think Penix was better. I think Caleb Williams was better. I think Jaden Daniels was better. I think those were the guys that are better than Shedeur Sanders. But I like his talent. I agree with everything you're saying. There are times you watch him and you go, oh, he does things you just can't coach. There are other times he's trying too hard to do things you can't coach, and it's actually to a detriment of his team. But with Shedeur, part of the story is the off the field. Let's be honest, he is getting everything he wants at Colorado. His coach, who is also his father, is reportedly setting it up for him to open a Lil Wayne show. That ain't going to happen in the NFL. He, according to reports, is having the band not play the fight song after touchdowns he scores so that they can play his hit single. I'm air quoting hit single. That's not going to happen in the NFL. He is very image driven, which is fine, but I think Colorado perpetuates it and pushes it. He's allowed to wear that big giant watch in pregame. I see Patrick Mahomes in pregame videos every week throwing the ball from the goal line. It's like a Twitter rite of passage. He ain't wearing a Rolex when he does it. Shedeur is. Shedeur also after games when, people talk a little trash, walks over and says, "I'm not going to shake your hand. I stand on business." You do that in the league, you're going to become a pariah in the league. So I think the talent is there. I don't think he's top 10 talent right now, but he'll bump up because he plays quarterback. But there are undoubtedly off-the-field questions. And if you were the type of person that had doubts about Caleb Williams because he painted his nails or he jumped in the crowd to cry with his mom or any of those things.
Caleb Williams is a seismically better prospect than what Shedeur Sanders is.
And you know what? I would say his off-the-field quirks are less so than Shedeur. So he's going to get dinged for the things that he's doing at Colorado that are not on the field at Colorado.
I will say this about Shedeur. I remember whenever Cam was coming out of Auburn, and you remember there was the story with him and Peter King where he told Peter King, "I want to be more than just a football player. I want to be an icon and an entertainer." A lot of the questions that I think people had about Cam Newton, I think they're going to have the same things. And just Shedeur is just not the athlete that Cam Newton was. He's not the size, strength, speed, any of those things that Cam Newton were. I also thought one thing was fairly interesting on there as well. Now, it can only go based off where we are in the current season. They had Cleveland with the #1 overall pick. You want to know where I know Shedeur is not going to play football next season? Is Cleveland. If you want to see the Eli Manning situation happen again, and it's been a while since we've had this happen, it has happened in almost every quarterback generation. It happened in the 80s with Elway. I'm not going to play for that team. It happened with Eli Manning. It's been a while since we've had a quarterback at the top. We've had it happen in the NBA. Luka Doncic, basically, I'm not going to play in Sacramento. Don't take me. I will stay over here. Please don't take me. This has happened. It just hasn't happened in the NFL a while. It will happen again if Shedeur gets drafted by the Cleveland Browns. He will not go to Cleveland. You got a dad. It's almost the exact same situation as Eli Manning. Dad was in the league. Dad knows the business and knows, I'm not letting my son go play for Cleveland. They have never developed a quarterback. They are not going to be able to give him the infrastructure that they need to come in and be successful. If Cleveland gets the #1 overall pick, you better take Quinn Ewers. You better take Carson Beck, or you better take that pass rusher from Texas A&M. Shedeur is not going to play. This also seems very obvious that Shedeur is going to play for the Las Vegas Raiders. They just got Brady as their, a minority owner. He owns like 5%. We know that there is a relationship between Shedeur and Tom Brady, that he's going to be pushing for him. Brady's certainly going to help him navigate the off-the-field stuff. Now, I would have my questions about putting Shedeur Sanders in Las Vegas. That would be something I'd have a lot of questions about, but I think we know how this story ends. This story ends with Shedeur going to play for the Las Vegas Raiders, and it certainly would be interesting. I'm certainly for seeing how that comes together. Really quickly, we're going to be joined by Josh Briscoe here coming up in a bit. Did you know that Travis Kelce's ex did another interview? So she did an interview a couple of weeks ago. She was on Angel Reese's podcast, Rob. I don't know if you saw that or not. She was on Angel Reese's podcast, and she said something like, do I look like the type that would go 50-50 on bills? And I'm still trying to figure out what that means. Like, you're not the type that would help pay for your own lifestyle. Didn't really make a whole lot of sense to me. Again, I try to stay out of women's business, but I mean, when it crosses over like this, I mean, how can we not comment on this? So Kayla Nicole, she did one podcast. She then was on another podcast to talk about her appearance on the first podcast. If that doesn't make sense to you, trust me, it doesn't make sense to me either. Here's what she had to say.
As someone who wears the title of influencer, there is a part of me that cares about how I'm influencing people and what they think of me and what they have to say of me. So looking back on my decisions, even recently, sitting down and doing a podcast, I felt like there were moments where I articulated myself in a really good way, and then were moments where if I could go back, I would maybe change the way that I said things because it didn't fully embody my character or my heart. But that's something that I'm learning, right? As athletes, y'all have mastered that because you've done that your whole life.
Because that is a big moment. Because I've been on shows before where it was like the gotcha moment where your team say, hey, we're going to stay off topic here. We're not going to dive into this. And then you get there and it's like, boom.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I don't need to hear any more than that. All right.
I mean, she had more dynamic stuff. I mean, come on.
No, that's fine. She went on Angel Reese's podcast. Some of this, you just got to put 2 and 2 together. Now, I've never listened to Angel Reese's podcast. I don't have much desire to listen to it, but I'm trying to figure out why Angel Reese would have this young lady appear on her podcast other than for the purposes that she was on there for. We don't know this young lady for literally anything else. And I don't say that with shade. She takes nice pictures on Instagram, and she used to date Travis Kelce. That is all we know her for. I don't even know what her real last name is. We don't know anything else about this young lady. You had to know the vibes when Angel Reese asked you to come on the podcast. You just got to move on. Travis seems happy in his new life. Him and his new girlfriend, current girlfriend, they're out at baseball games. They're going on trips. They're having these celebrity dinners. Everybody seems happy. She's the only one that doesn't seem happy with this, and I get it. Like, Rob, you were able to get away from your ex. Like, I don't know if you still follow your ex on social media. I don't know. But you have the ability to remove yourself from seeing what your ex is doing. For those of you that you've been in a relationship before, right? You have an ability. I don't know how, if your life is being on Instagram, how you get away from who her ex is. I don't know how you do it. It seems basically impossible. They report on everything that they do. Every place they go, you have dinner at. Everything that they do, it gets reported on. You got to find a new lane. You got to find a new vehicle. Why are you still talking about this? Travis never talks about you. Never.
And he has a lot of platforms.
He never talks about you, brings you up. He did the one time before he started dating Taylor Swift. At this point, he can't even say nothing. Taylor even says a word or Travis even say a word that starts with the K. Those Swifties is on his neck. He cannot mention you in any. Just move on. Do something else with your life, sister. I don't know who you got advising you or telling you, giving you advice, but let me be the one to tell you, move on with your life. You got to find a new lane. You got to find a new avenue. Just go back to taking nice pictures on Instagram. I've seen the pictures. They nice. I mean, you're a very attractive gal. You got to just find a new NBA. You got to find
She's an influencer, Carrington.
Yeah, you got to find a new NBA player to get with. You got to find a new NFL player to get with, man. What's John Moran up to, bro? Start dating him. We can find you somebody.
Could you have picked a more problematic player?
I don't know. We got to find somebody. She might be in the tight ends. What's Dalton Kincaid up to? Nah, she ain't dating nobody live in Buffalo. Nah, she don't seem like the type. She's not dating you if you live in Buffalo. Who's the tight end in Dallas? Jake Ferguson. That's what we need to hook her up with. Can we hook her up with Jake Ferguson? That seems like it'll work out well to me. He's the tight end on the Cowboys. That seems like something that will work out for her. Coming up on the other side, we'll be joined by Joshua Briscoe. We'll get his thoughts as the Chiefs are coming off the bye week. That's coming up. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your new home for K-State Athletics. 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Chiefs coverage on 96.5 The Fan is brought to you by award-winning Johnny's Barbecue in Olathe.
Football and barbecue fans, score big with Johnny's Barbecue tailgate packages. Whether you're hosting a home gate or a tailgate, Johnny's Barbecue has you covered. Check out our tailgate packages at johnny'sbbqkc.com. Located in Olathe and serving all of KC. Johnny's Barbecue. Taste the smoke.
Get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Because right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. Build out a quick same-game parlay for Thursday Night Football between the Broncos and the Saints. How about Bo Nix to go over 1.5 passing touchdowns? Rashid Shaheed over his receiving total and Alvin Kamara over on his rushing. Just visit FanDuel.com/Alex to make every moment more this season. FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL and 96.5 The Fan. 21 and present in Kansas. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expires 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under an agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Getting help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
Here we are, smack dab in the political season. A time to take pause and scrutinize the integrity of the spoken word. Well, here's a Lennox offer that needs no scrutiny at all. Midwest Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing now offers up to $1,200 in rebates on qualifying Lennox home comfort systems and up to 60 months 0% financing with approved credit. That's up to $1,200 back and 0% interest just to make life easier. Airman here to remind you that Midwest was founded in 1962 on a simple premise. Customers actually appreciate being treated with respect. Imagine that. Today, 3 generations later, the same family still owns and operates Midwest, knowing that fads come and go, but integrity never goes out of style. If you are considering a new Lennox system or need service, go to MidwestHeating.com or dial 943-8787. Trust your air to the best, Midwest. Midwest Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing.
What's up, Kansas City? It's Mitchell Schwartz. You know, there's nothing easier to enjoy than watching the Chiefs with some wings and an ice-cold Bud Light. And Buffalo Wild Wings is serving up both for every game, all season long. Join me at the Buffalo Wild Wings located at 137th and Metcalf in Overland Park on Friday, October 18th. I'll be there with the crew from 6 to 8 p.m. celebrating the back-to-back Super Bowl champs while eating some wings and drinking $5 Bud Lights. Nothing easier to enjoy than that. Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. For more details, go to 965thefan.com. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch, Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
You've been waiting, and now is the time. Golden Oak Lending has fixed mortgage rates at 4.875%. But don't wait, this rate won't last forever. Call today and take advantage of our low 4.875 fixed rate. Call 913-890-GOLD. That's 913-890-GOLD.
Golden Oak Landing cured my blues.
5.784 APR, FHA, 15-year, 20% equity, qualified credit. Additional terms apply. NMLS 114937.
Hey, it's Cody and Gold, and for those of you who've been listening to the show for a while, you know all about our friends over at Centric and how you can find a brand new career in as little as 4 months. But did you also know that you can work with your current schedule with some of their flex options for learning online or in person?
Maybe you're just getting out of high school and want to start that career now and that career path now, or you're looking for that change with better advancement, better pay. Centric can do those things for you.
They have plenty of funding options like the GI Bill. You just got to go talk to our friend Russ at Centric.com. That's CENTRIQ.com.
Celebrate your home team's Tully touchdown with Tullamore Dew Irish Whiskey. May your team be swift and their aim true. May the refs be forever in your favor and your whiskey always Tullamore Dew. Tullamore Dew, the original triple-blended, triple-distilled, smooth-sipping Irish whiskey, made exactly for game day moments like this. Tullamore Dew Irish Whiskey, 40% alcohol by volume, imported by William Grant & Sons Incorporated, New York, New York. Please enjoy Tullamore Dew responsibly.
Men, this is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health. It seems like everything we hear these days is about political races, and yet there's a far more important race that you run for yourself every day. It's the race to be the best that you can be. But if your libido is low, if your workouts aren't productive, if you've got brain fog and you're tired all the time, you may feel like you're losing that race, and maybe even that your best days are behind you. But the truth is that they're likely not, because if you're feeling like this, it's probable you're simply suffering from low testosterone, a condition that affects a huge percentage of men as we age. At Heartland Men's Health, we're experts in treating low T. We've successfully treated thousands of men for the condition, and if you're like most guys, you'll start seeing results in just a few weeks. Better sleep patterns, higher energy, improved mental clarity, more productive workouts, and your libido will likely increase as well. So get back to winning your race by calling us. Your initial visit is only $99 and includes blood work and a medical consult. And if you start on testosterone the day of your appointment, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600 or go to heartlandmenshealth.com.
When it comes to car buying, you deserve options. So at Volkswagen Lease Summit, we have 3 incredible promotions to pick from. Choose no payments for 90 days, 0% APR for up to 60 months, or we'll double your down up to $3,000. Pick out your car, then pick your promo at VWLeaseSummit.com.
Hi, I'm Kamiko, the founder of Miko's Hot Chicken. When we started our family restaurant, we were also raising a family. But let me tell you, it wasn't easy. Our Chase Ink card was there to reward us on all of our business needs. Now we have a thriving location, and we're hungry for more.
With the Chase Ink Business Unlimited card, you can earn unlimited 1.5% cash back on every purchase, so your business can go from here to possible. Chase for business. Make more with yours. Real business owners compensated for their participation. Cards issued by JPMorgan Chase Bank and a member FDIC, subject to credit approval. Terms apply.
Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Stalled car in North Kansas City, southbound 35. It's at the on-ramp from Shoto Traffic Way, stopping traffic. Some slowdowns happening on the southern lanes of the downtown loop. And some brake lights happening on eastbound 435, starting at about Lamar and going through Mission Road. I'm Lori Pearson for 96.5 The Fan Traffic.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios.
Chiefs fans, it's Justin Reed. Welcome to The Drive with C-Dot on your home of Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan.
Let's head to the phone lines right now to be joined by Josh Briscoe, who does fantastic work covering the Chiefs for Sports Illustrated. Josh, let's just start with this. Who did you have number 1 at the top of your wide receiver list? I had Amari Cooper. Did you have Cooper or did you have somebody else?
I had 1A, 1B, I think, Amari Cooper and then Deontay Johnson, trying to kind of take into account what the Chiefs would actually do. I thought Johnson was probably higher on their list. I would have probably been willing to pay the price the Bills paid for Cooper.
Yeah, that's the thing that was a little confusing to me yesterday is just all of the things to me sort of aligned to go get Amari Cooper. You already have 2 third-round picks, so you could have gave up one of those third-round picks. He's a veteran, proven wide receiver in the league. He's not owed a lot of money this year. Like, if you were talking about a checklist for what I would think the Chiefs like, Amari Cooper checks a lot of those boxes, but just based on what the compensation was, it's hard to think that Kansas City was really interested in acquiring him.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely right, and that's what's going to make the next couple of weeks so interesting, because what was the disqualifying factor? Is it him being 30 or over 30? Is it the single year that he would have been here, just the super short-term rental kind of thing? It's not that the Chiefs won't trade assets mid-season. They gave up basically the exact same package the Bills gave up for Kadarius Toney mid-season. I think it was a 3rd and a 6th for Toney, and then it was a 3rd and a 7th for Cooper and a 6th for the Bills and Browns, if memory serves. So they will make moves like that, but I think understandably they'd rather make moves like that for the long haul, which is why Deontay Johnson does kind of stick in my head a little bit. There were some of those rumors that they were sniffing around last offseason, that Pittsburgh didn't want to send him in the AFC, specifically to the Chiefs. However much truth there was to that, I'm not completely sure, but I could see Johnson being a mid-season acquisition with a long-term view to it. That would make some sense, but you're still talking about a new player coming into a new offense. Maybe if you get a guy from a more Andy Reid disciple scheme, maybe that learning curve would be a little bit easier than it might be for Johnson, who I don't know that he has any real connections to even like a West Coast offense at this point. I also think that there's a pretty good chance MVS is on the practice squad. I think there's a pretty good chance they call the Rams about Demarcus Robinson. And I'm not sure those solve the biggest problems the Chiefs currently have. It just feels pretty likely at this point.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, you say pretty likely. I mean, I think that MVS is playing on Sunday against the San Francisco 49ers. Like, I already have him having 1 catch for 6 yards in the game on Sunday.
And that would actually be, I think, about half of his Bills career. So that would be an uptick. He ought to be calling Mahomes and Aaron Rodgers and just say, which one of you wants me? Because I don't know how else MVS finds more traction for another shot at this point. So he should be willing to take any of those opportunities, sign him to the practice squad, and you can elevate him. That makes some sense. But the thing that I've wrestled with, and I just wrote about this over on ChiefsOnSI.com, which I appreciate you shouting out as always,
I see there being a real logic to like, all right, you've got another warm body who can be in this offense, who knows this offense. But the reason that Juju became such an important part here is because Patrick Mahomes trusts him. The Xavier Worthy thing is a work in progress. They've had 5 games together, so I think that trust is growing. I don't know if Patrick Mahomes trusts MVS. He knows that he will theoretically get the play call and then probably get to where he's supposed to be, but actually finishing the play, actually connecting on deep shots, actually being a guy you want to have in the locker room. I don't know if those are things that Mahomes feels for MVS in the same way that he did for Juju.
Right now, we're talking to Josh Briscoe, who does fantastic work with Sports Illustrated covering the Chiefs. Josh, are you at least in the same camp as me that they have to make a move? I don't think that the Chiefs have to trade a first-round pick and go bring back Tyreek Hill or anything, but just they have 4 wide receivers right now, 5 if you're counting Sky Moore, but I never want Patrick Mahomes to ever throw another pass to Sky Moore as long as he is on the team. This team is going to have to me, solely because of the numbers. They just don't have enough bodies right now at the position.
Yeah, I'm with you 100% there. McCole Hardman also, he ran a handful of routes and got some targets, but that's a very specific role that they're using him in, even when they only had 5 healthy receivers active. It's crazy. They had 5 healthy receivers against the Saints, and 3 of them had a real workload. Justin Watson, Juju, and Worthy, they all got significant snaps, and Watson didn't get a target. So I could argue on some level, and this isn't really fair to Watson, who is somewhat useful, but the Chiefs only had 2 wide receivers they wanted to throw the ball to running real routes a week ago Sunday. And one of them is a rookie who's 175 pounds. I think that can be overblown, but it's still his first NFL season on that body. Juju is a little bit older, and he has an extensive injury history. And then you have Travis Kelce, 35 years old. You don't want to build your plan out of those 3 guys. That's the part to me that makes this pretty easy. Yeah, they've got to do something if they want to, seriously pursue the three-peat, which I certainly think they do. Saying, yeah, injury history, Juju, rookie in his first year in the NFL on a slider frame, and 35-year-old Travis Kelce. That is not sustainable for the remainder of this season. Maybe those 3 guys could carry you through the playoffs. Maybe one of those 3 guys could carry you on a game-by-game basis like Juju took the last one, and maybe we're going to get an Xavier Worthy game in San Francisco. But I think they need somebody else who can take a bulk of the workload reliably, which is why I don't know that MVS solves that. But that's why someone else, and for me, Cooper would have been a perfectly fine answer to it, someone else has to get into this rotation, because even a best-case scenario for Juju and Worthy, which I like both of those players a lot, their best-case scenario is not replacing Hollywood and Rashee Rice at this point.
Yeah, that's where I am as well, and that's been a point that I've really been trying to hammer home this week is, if you think the Chiefs are winning the Super Bowl, and a lot of people listening do, then you have the Chiefs playing in 15 additional games this season. They have 12 more regular season games, and they play a minimum of 3 games in the postseason. If I had told you in July, hey, are you counting on Juju, McCole Hardman, and Xavier Worthy to play the next 15 weeks? Everybody says no in that scenario. No, I get it. You're just hoping that you can get the right 3 from those guys at the end of the year. But, you also got to, you want to be the 1 seed. You want to get the bye. You don't want to increase the workload for Travis Kelce. Again, you just need bodies at this point, and that's why we were kind of joking about it. That's number 1 reason why I think they're bringing MVS back. At this point, do you think that MVS is better than Sky Moore? I think the answer is yes. So I think you bring MVS back, but I just hope that doesn't preclude them from making another move to go out and get a Darius Slayton, a Deontay Johnson, bringing back a Demarcus Robinson. You can bring back MVS. That just can't be the only thing that you do.
100%. That is to bolster the depth. That is not fixing the top. And the Chiefs have problems at the top and bottom of the receiver depth chart, which in this instance, obviously, you know this. I think almost everyone listening knows this. It's an instance where it's not Brett Veach's fault. It's not like they misread something. They got horrible luck twice, where Hollywood gets a freak injury that we've only ever seen happen one other time, also in Jacksonville to a Chiefs wide receiver, and then Patrick Mahomes bends Rashee Rice's knee in half. Those are 2 outrageously Looney Tunes horrible injuries that they have to figure out how to survive. And also, I guess I should mention, if they really do think Hollywood will be back late in the year, maybe it moves your finish line back a little bit to where you say, just get to week 15, 16 as Hollywood ramps up, and then you can try to get him in for the postseason. That's another huge if statement, though. And not only is it a lot to put on Kelce and Juju, as we've discussed, it's a ton to put on Mahomes. And even your running game, frankly, you make the margin for error so thin when you just say, yeah, we've got 2 NFL caliber wide receivers, maybe 1.5. half, depending on the week. We're going to make Mahomes be perfect. He is going to have to be perfect while throwing the ball to McCole Hardman and Sky Moore. Kareem Hunt, you're going to average 20 carries a game until Isaiah Pacheco gets back. Good luck with that as well. It's a very fragile build right now. I think they have to bolster it because it's working okay to this point, but this is temporary. There has to be a better long-term solution, and it's going to cost them something that they're unhappy to part with. I understand that. I wasn't happy with what they had to give up for Kadarius Toney, but I understood the vision. Now we need the same vision and a better result.
Do you have any interest in Mike Williams?
I don't. I think he's juiced up MVS, not in terms of how they would use him by any means, but in terms of like how that adds to the group for me. If he was cut and just as available as MVS, maybe I'd be more interested in Williams than Scantling. I don't think I'm there right now. I also don't know like what the Chiefs would do with Mike Williams. It's not a fair comp to Williams, I guess, but like Justin Ross has been on this practice squad this whole time, and Andy Reid hasn't seemed to want to sniff the idea of a game day elevation for him. I don't know if he makes sense stylistically. I'm sitting here. Here's where I'm at psychologically. I'm sitting here wondering when we're going to get the Nico Remigio call up because he's at least the type. He's there for a reason, I guess. I don't think they're going to make a move for Williams though.
Right now, we're talking to Joshua Briscoe, who covers the Kansas City Chiefs for Sports Illustrated. Let's talk about two of the big trades this week. Let's start with Davante Adams. I mean, this was one of the more obvious moves to see. The moment we realized that he wasn't going to play for the Raiders anymore, there were only two places that he was going to land. He was either going to go play with Aaron Rodgers in New York, or he was going to go play with Derek Carr in New Orleans. How do you like the trade? How do you like the fit for Davante Adams?
I think it makes sense for both teams, and I think it's ultimately going to be looked back on pretty poorly for both teams because the Raiders clearly misjudged their window by acquiring him in the first place. Like that was a faulty mission at the jump, and they move on from Derek Carr, the guy that he went there to play with. Essentially, you saw that one fraying. At the bare minimum, they should have traded him before this season began. That's horrible mismanagement from the Raiders. And for the Jets, I understand that it's sort of a panicky move, and maybe it works, and maybe the fact that Adams is staying with Rodgers until he gets settled in New York. Maybe that little buddy cop movie will turn into a few wins. The Jets' schedule is pretty climbable at this point. All they have to do is get to the playoffs, and then they can tell themselves whatever they want about what happens when they get there. I don't think Davante Adams solves the Jets' biggest problems. I don't think firing Robert Saleh solved the Jets' biggest problems, because oftentimes this year, their biggest problems have come from Aaron Rodgers. But I understand you've got Rodgers. This is kind of the last stand for this experiment. Trade a pick for what's probably going to be a rental. I understand why they did it. I just don't think it's going to change the landscape of the AFC.
Do you like the Amari Cooper trade to Buffalo? I mean, there were two teams that I thought made the most sense, Kansas City and Buffalo. Both of those teams are, oddly enough, kind of in the same place in terms of the weapons that they have. Now, the Chiefs are there because of injuries that have happened over the course of the season. Buffalo just didn't have enough to me at the very beginning of the season. But you look at the financial situation with Amari Cooper, it's not a whole lot of money. You also look at the trade compensation. I would say that's pretty reasonable to go get Amari Cooper. I like that move for Buffalo. Where are you?
I like the Cooper trade better for both sides than I do for the Jets and Raiders on Adams, partially because of where those franchises are all respectively going. But I think it's a reasonable thing to get back for the Browns. They're 3 years away from a legit rebuild, so I don't really care about how their future goes at this point. But I think it makes total sense for Buffalo. They came into this year kind of being the team that you expected to take a step back in the AFC. They kind of have their window shrinking. That Von Miller deal was looking atrocious. They move on from Diggs, obviously. The entire McDermott experience had been a total roller coaster. So coming into this year, it's like, all right, well, it's going to be Josh Allen probably playing a little bit of hero ball. And now the Josh Allen hero ball seems to be doing about enough. They're like an interesting team. Obviously, against the Jets wasn't their most shining effort. It wasn't anyone on that field's most shining effort. None of the three teams participating in that game. But I think if you're the Bills right now, you look around and you realize we do have Josh Allen. We have enough around him to win this division and to be a real contender. If we have Amari Cooper, is this the time when it wasn't really kind of air quotes here, our year, but we're able to go steal a Super Bowl from Kansas City as opposed to all the times the Chiefs have done that from the Bills, from the Niners, or the Eagles even in kind of air quotes, their years. I think this is a reasonable time to make a swing at a reasonable price for Buffalo.
I was thinking this in regards to Josh Allen. I'm curious to get your thoughts. I think that right now Josh Allen is playing the best out of any quarterback in the league. I just don't think it matters because no one considers him to be the best quarterback in the NFL. He feels like he's in that same place that Peyton Manning was in Indianapolis, that Peyton Manning was incredible in Indianapolis. But Tom Brady also played during that point. And sometimes I think we kind of misremember what happened in the early 2000s. It was like, oh, well, he just lost to Brady. No, they lost to the Chargers a lot during that time, too. The Colts just routinely came up short in the postseason. I kind of feel like that's where Josh Allen is. He is having an incredible start to his season. I actually think that he should be the MVP favorite right now, but none of it matters unless he does it in January and February.
No, I think that's right. I think that's a good comp with Manning. And it's also kind of funny because I think this year you're seeing Allen get a little more of the mental aspect of the game figured out. I mean, it just takes time. It's an incredibly hard thing to do, but he's always had all these physical tools. I think now you're seeing him kind of quarterback in the way that you like to see guys doing around this point in their career. And he and Mahomes are both advancing so quickly. But I do, in the grand scheme of, how it took Brady and Manning 10 or 15 years to get to where they're getting, I'm excited about the paths for both of these guys. But I'm with you also on best season versus best quarterback. If right now you said, hey, build your franchise around these guys or just rank quarterbacks, however you want to do it, for me, it is Mahomes at number 1 with a pretty big drop-off, and then it's Allen at number 2 with a pretty big drop-off. And then you have your conversations about Lamar and C.J. Stroud and kind of that next class of guys, how you feel about Herbert and Burrow and all of those guys. Allen, to me, is clearly number 2, and, I don't want to necessarily root for this, given our current environment, but when I hope Josh Allen does eventually get the Super Bowl that Peyton Manning got in Indy. I could do without him getting one in Denver. But the postseason accolades that sort of validate quarterbacks, fairly or unfairly, specifically in your analogy with Brady and Manning, I think it's apt. I do hope that Allen ultimately gets the legacy that he's building right now, because it is a remarkable thing to watch. He right now, again, this is partially the Chiefs offense, partially the Chiefs receivers, partially the O-line, whatever. We can get into all the details around Mahomes, but Josh Allen is the most fun watch in football right now, I think, at the quarterback position. And then Baker Mayfield might be too. Fun doesn't always mean best, but I really, really love watching Josh Allen play the quarterback position right now.
You know who I think might be number 2? I think it might be Jaden Daniels in Washington. I've really enjoyed the Commanders so far this season.
Yeah, 100%. Great call, and could not have been more surprising to me. I think I would have had him third out of those top 3 quarterbacks. I was not bullish on that situation at all. It's a fascinating little study on what expectations look like around the rookie quarterback, because, you can look at New England now. Obviously, they sat Drake May through the first stretch, and now they're playing him and go, well, he does not have any weapons. His offensive line is a nightmare, and that's all true. With Washington, it was like, oh, man, is this administration even going to be here for his maybe 3rd season at the helm? And right now, everything is cooking, and you're getting a surprisingly functional offense happening within a uniform that you haven't seen functional offense out of in 30 years.
Right now, we're talking to Joshua Briscoe for a couple more minutes, getting his thoughts on so far where we are in the NFL season. I don't know if you heard our interview yesterday, but we had Patrick Mahomes on the show, and we have a tradition that we do not ask him football questions during the bye week. We just ask him random questions. I will ask you some of the random questions. What is your favorite Pop-Tart flavor?
The maple sugar one. I think is that what it's called? Brown sugar, maple, something like that. I don't know. I gotta be honest. I've eaten less Pop-Tarts since the diabetes.
You know what? I was gonna, once you said that caveat, because I was thinking about hanging up on you, and you're not even on the phone, but I was just thinking about why are we even continuing this conversation? All right. Second question is, how crispy do you like your bacon? So 1 is floppy, 10 is as crisp, damn near burnt. How crisp do you like your bacon?
I'm going to say a 7.5 to an 8. Definitely on the crispy side. I do not want my bacon chewy.
Who is your favorite Mario Kart character?
Yoshi.
That's who Patrick's was.
Oh, really? Oh, hell yeah. Okay, I got to go check out this interview now. He didn't like the brown sugar Pop-Tart?
He said actually he's never had a Pop-Tart before.
What?
It got me too. I was a little confused because I just thought that was one of those things everybody's had a Pop-Tart at some point.
Ever? I mean, if Tom Brady would have said that, I guess he doesn't eat strawberries, right? I assumed that Mahomes had tripped and fallen onto a Pop-Tart at some point. He went to college? What?
That's what he says.
Shocking.
So we actually had this debate yesterday. Do you toast the Pop-Tarts? Do you heat them up, or do you eat them cold?
Toaster. Look, if you keep going like crispy food texture things, you're gonna find that I love a crispy texture. I love texture mixes throughout food in general. So I'm toasting my Pop-Tarts. I want my crispy bacon. I want a little snap there if I can get it. Yeah.
Okay, last one here. Do you listen to podcasts?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Less sports podcasts over the years though, but I listen to a lot of podcasts. I am frequently just like throwing in one AirPod and doing other things.
Do you listen to them at normal speed or do you speed them up?
Most sports podcasts I listen to at double speed, which is an absolutely maniacal thing
killer.
that I do.
That's what we might have learned. Something might be wrong with you.
Yeah, no, there's a lot wrong with me. I mean, I talk at 1.5 times speed, and I listen at 2 times speed. Something, I don't know if it's genetic, nature, nurture, whatever. But if it's like a comedy podcast where the timing is really important, I'll listen at standard speed for entertainment purposes. But if I'm trying to chug some information, I'll double speed that thing and try to get through 2 at one time.
That is our guy, Joshua Briscoe, joining us on the show. He does fantastic work for Sports Illustrated. He covers the Kansas City Chiefs. Briscoe, man, we appreciate you, man. Looking forward to you hopping on next week.
I'm looking forward to it. Rob and I still need to just have like a talk off. We can go ahead and see if we can hit double speed together. Or if you need me to do any disclaimers for any of your ads, let me know.
That is our guy, Joshua Briscoe, joining us on the show today. I was really thinking about hanging up on him when he said maple sugar. That's the best flavor?
If he's talking about the brown sugar, me and him are on the same page.
That's the best?
That's the best flavor.
No chance.
I Googled it. We were talking about in the office yesterday. The butter on the back is very common. I'm not a butter on the back person, but butter on the back is a common thing.
Hold on. I got to throw a challenge flag here. You are telling me, text line 913-586-7965. You were telling me that people get butter out of the refrigerator. They grab a knife. They scoop some of the butter and they spread it on the back of the Pop-Tart and then they eat it? That's what you're telling me people do.
This is a common thing. Not for me. It's not my go-to, but it is a thing that people do. It's called buttering your Pop-Tart.
I don't believe this. I'm not even trying to be funny. I do not believe that this is a real thing. This, of all the To America things you have ever shared with me on this show, this is number one To America's thing. That people are putting margin on the s'more. That is crazy.
I think it's very dependent on which one you're getting. I don't think they would do it. Maybe the s'mores one, but I think the fruit ones is pretty common.
That's crazy. Text line 913-586-7965. C-Dot, did you hang up on Patrick for not eating a Pop-Tart? I don't think he'd be on the show again if that happened. I don't think that would happen. You know, Patrick gets different rules than everybody else. He's special. We can hang up on Joshua Briscoe. I don't think we can hang up on Patrick Mahomes. Coming up on the other side, we'll talk about all 3 of the local schools in the Cover 3. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel on America's #1 sportsbook app, because right now new customers can bet $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. It's Thursday Night Football, so it's time to make our parlays. I'm going to take the Saints at home in this game. I'm also going to take the over on Alvin Kamara rushing yards. I'm also going to take him to score an anytime touchdown. Yes, I'm high on the Saints for this matchup. You can be too. Build your own same game parlay. Use one of the pre-built models, or just take an anytime touchdown if you're feeling that way. You can do so on FanDuel.com/CDOT to make every moment more this season. FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL, and also 96.5 The Fan. 21 and present in Kansas. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issue is non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expires 7 days after free. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Can help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700. Visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
This report is brought to you by Flying H Drag Strip. Drag racing is back in Kansas City. FlyingHDragStrip.com. Kansas City Drag Racing is back. Join us for Hooktober at Flying H Drag Strip, October 25th and 26th, featuring pro mod cars, top dragsters, and quarter-mile drag racing. Plus, Night of Heroes, free entry for veterans with military ID. Get tickets now at FlyingHDragStrip.com. A real horsepower hangout.
The Chiefs, Cardinals, Royals, Blues, and our 2 soccer teams, the Current and St. Louis City SC, are all endorsing Amendment 2. Here's why you should support it too. Right now, Missouri sports fans are taking their money and placing their bets in Kansas and Illinois. We're losing our money to other states, money that could be invested in our schools. Amendment 2 fixes that. By legalizing sports betting, Amendment 2 will generate over $100 million for Missouri schools over the next 5 years. And there's a strong constitutional guarantee ensuring the revenue from sports betting will go to education. Kansas and Illinois know sports betting is a winner for their fans and taxpayers. It's time for Missouri to get into the game. Amendment 2 means over $100 million for Missouri schools. Join the Chiefs, Cardinals, Royals, Blues, Current, and St. Louis City SC in supporting Amendment 2. Paid for by Winning for Missouri Education, Mike Pridmore, Treasurer.
I'm Bob Burke, founder and chairman of Burke America Parts Group, a family of brands that includes RepairClinic.com, an appliance and HVAC parts solution company that's grown into an international brand. Before AmericanEagle.com, we partially launched a new technology platform developed by another firm. American Eagle helped take our technology to a whole new level with digital marketing, software development, and business insights into our key markets, appliances, HVAC, and outdoor power equipment, and did so both on time and on budget. AmericanEagle.com has the resources, experience, and talent needed to produce solutions. Our new technology platform, developed by AmericanEagle.com, has produced tremendous results with higher traffic, conversion, engagement, and online revenue. If you have any home repairs you need to take care of, check us out at RepairClinic.com. If you need a world-class website or technology project, then I would highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Call AmericanEagle.com at 773-NETWORK. That's AmericanEagle.com, 773-NETWORK.
When something happens to your kitchen, you might say,
"This is ludicrous."
but that won't fix your home. That will only get you the rapper, Ludacris.
Having trouble? Don't panic. Don't be alarmed. You need to file a claim? Holla at State Farm. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
That's right. You can file a claim on the app or call us.
Thanks, Mr. Chris.
No matter how ludicrous the situation, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
State Farm, Bloomington, Illinois.
Hey, can you blow up some balloons for Jack's party?
I can't. I'm so congested.
You need Sinex Saline from Vicks.
Sinex Saline Nasal Spray?
Yeah, just Sinex. Breathe.
Sinex Saline instantly clears everyday congestion associated with colds and year-round allergies with a gentle, ultrafine mist that's no mess and easy to control.
Daddy, we need more balloons.
On it.
Enjoy life's important moments without congestion. Try Sinex Saline from Vicks. Just Sinex. Breathe. Use as directed.
It's Wrangler season out there. Warmer days, cooler nights. Open roads, endless horizons. And you need to be ready in jeans made for the unpredictable. Wrangler, for the ride of life. Shop our newest styles today at Wrangler.com.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. 120,000 miles of night drives, daily commutes, and who knows how many.
Are we there yet?
Through countless fixes, elbow grease, and a new radiator, you kept your ride alive. With eBay Motors, you have over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
It's Wrangler season out there. Warmer days, cooler nights. Open roads, endless horizons. And you need to be ready in jeans made for the unpredictable. Wrangler, for the ride of life. Shop our newest styles today at Wrangler.com.
Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Traffic brought to you by Streetcar Takeover this Friday and Saturday. Tickets at streetcar-takeover.com. Cordell and Cordell traffic cams showing that collision in North Kansas City. That's at southbound 35, just past Armour, closing the right lane. Also, a stalled car still slowing traffic down at that 435 and 70 exchange. This is eastbound 70 to northbound 435. Get your tickets now for a weekend of horsepower, burnouts, car show, music, and adrenaline-fueled excitement at Streetcar Takeover this Friday and Saturday at the Flying H Drag Strip in Odessa. Kids 12 and under are free, plus trunk or treat Saturday for the kids. Online at streetcar-takeover.com. I'm Lori Pearson for 96.5 The Fan Traffic.
Time to check in on MIZ, K-State, and KU. Let's go cover 3.
Ready, break! All right, let's start with KU mainly because I want to get them out of the way. This is my question to KU fan. We know that you've given up on football season. Late night at the Fog is on Friday. We know that you guys want nothing to do with the football team, and I can't blame you. We have had the presidential and vice presidential debate since the last time that you guys have won a game. I understand why you've given up on football season. This is my question. Is this going to be the most talented team since 2008? Or is this going to be some ragtag group that Bill Self has cobbled together and somehow managed to be a 1 seed again in the NCAA tournament? There are only two different kinds of KU teams. And when do we start to complain about Hunter Dickinson, even though he's averaging 22 and 9 every single night for KU? Those are going to be my big talking points for the season.
I feel like this one's going to be the most talented team since 2008.
Oh, you guys might say that after Howard.
No, it's going to be halftime at Carolina. Oh, man, can you look at the talent on this team? Can't be stopped.
Halftime at Carolina, and they're probably going to be up 12.
Mm-hmm. That's when the talk happens.
Who are you ready to blame when something goes wrong this year? KJ Adams? KJ Adams feels like he's going to be the culprit this year.
No, it's going to be DeJuan Harris. DeJuan Harris is going to have
man. No, DeJuan got dogs again. He got guys to actually throw it to. You don't need DeJuan to score. Last year, I knew KU was in trouble and they needed DeJuan Harris offense. No, that's not what he is. He needs to be a 7 to 9 point per game, take 3 or 4 shots, a couple of floaters. He should never take a 3 this season. It should be setting guys up, alley-oops, commanding the offense and getting steals and getting cherry-picked buckets. That's what he should be doing this season for the Crimson and Blue.
Maybe one of the transfers takes the L. Like, remember Timberlake was a villain last year?
Yeah.
Hey, we were lied to. You can't shoot. That's what's going to happen.
Okay, I'm just making sure. I like to know who you guys are going to blame. All right, let's talk about K-State. You know what, K-State? That was a good, impressive win. You guys went on the road. You guys battled. You played well against Colorado. Colorado, I think it's safe to say, is a little bit better than we thought. Now, I don't think that Colorado is good, but Colorado is pesky. They're entertaining. They're fun. I like Colorado. You know what? K-State, you go on the road against West Virginia, and this is where I think that K-State still is in the playoff conversation. In a conference as tough as the Big 12 is, man, they got off easy with the schedule. Now, you don't apologize for the schedule that you have, but on the road against West Virginia, I mean, there's like 5 harder road games in Big 12 play than on the road against West Virginia. They've already lost multiple times this year at home. That's certainly a winnable game. You play KU. You've been smacking KU around since George W. Bush's first term in office. Houston is terrible. I mean, you got Arizona State that I would be worried about that game if it was on the road, but it's at home. That's a game that you should win. And it really feels like this season for K-State is going to come down to on the road against Iowa State. That's what it feels like. And the winner of that game is going to play BYU in the Big 12 championship. That's at least how I view the Big 12. Maybe you guys view it differently. 913-586-7965. I don't think, I'm not going to say they couldn't because they could absolutely lose this weekend. They are going on the road again at night. Back-to-back road night games in conference, and you know those games are always difficult. Something can go wrong, a penalty, a ball gets tipped. Teams lose conference road night games every week in college football. Good teams. Teams better than K-State. I think they're going to win West Virginia. They should run through these next 5 games, and they should go into the game against Iowa State. And if they win that, I don't know all the tiebreaker scenarios. There's, 17 teams in the Big 12, so I don't know how you're going to be able to sort this thing out. We're going to find the 2. But K-State is still in the playoff conversation.
100% in the conversation. Honestly, as much as we were down on the idea of the extended playoff, K-State's season this year is why the extended playoff is good. If they would have just in a regular season like last year or 2 years ago lost to BYU, their season was over. Yeah, they can go to the Sugar Bowl and get thumped by Bama, and their fans will buy T-shirts, but largely it disappears the ether. If you win out, including a win in Ames, and you play in the Big 12 title game, you could make the playoff and have a playoff game in Manhattan. And the scene in Manhattan, if they have a playoff game, is going to be absolutely incredible.
It's going to be cold. I'm going to tell you that right now. I can already tell you it's going to be cold.
But that town is going to be insane if that happens. K-State is the benefactor of the new playoff, and honestly, If you're a K-State fan, you're saying, hey, our second biggest rival is the difference between us and the Big 12 title game. That's an exciting proposition to have.
I just want to tell you guys, at least behind the scenes, why I'm disappointed that KU's not having a good season. Rob, at the very beginning of the year, was so excited about going to KU and K-State. Was so excited. Hey, Carrington, can you help me get tickets? I really want to go. Yeah, sure, of course. You know I got you, man. As we getting closer and closer to the game, Rob is starting to find more excuses to not make that trip out to Manhattan. Are you going next week? We can line you up some tickets if you really want to go to KU K-State. I don't know why you would get in your car and drive 2 hours to watch your team they might get a 40 spot put on them on the road against K-State at Manhattan. Are you still trying to go to the game, or are you good? He's going to watch it at home.
You know, we're on the 6-day hold for time window.
Oh, you're trying to see when time is going to be.
I don't know. I want to leave the house at 7 a.m. for 11 a.m.
I got you. No,
so you know
that makes sense.
Let's talk on Monday. Let's reconvene.
Okay, no, that makes sense. Good luck to both teams. Certainly good luck to K-State. They still got a chance to make the college football playoff. With Missouri, I mean, Missouri did what they were supposed to do. UMass is not a good team. Missouri is a good team. I don't think Missouri has shown you yet that they should be in the playoff conversation. I know what their ranking says, and they're technically not eliminated from it, but next week they go on the road to Alabama. I think we can call that one a loss, even though Alabama isn't nearly as good as we thought they could potentially be. But this is an important week against Auburn. It is an SEC team that Missouri is clearly better than. I don't care if the game was in Columbia. I don't care if it was at Auburn. They are a better team than Auburn. I actually think that the spread this week is more of an indication of how Vegas feels about Missouri than how they feel about Auburn. Auburn is not a good football team. And the fact that Missouri is a 3.5, 4-point favorite, depending on where you get your number, I took Missouri at the very beginning of the week. Missouri is at least a touchdown better than Auburn at home. It's homecoming. It's going to be a great crowd. I think Missouri plays well in this game. I'm not sure if Auburn's better than Boston College, and Missouri beat Boston College by 7 points. So I think they're taking care of business this weekend. But when you get thumped the way that they got thumped by Texas A&M, you kind of got to prove it a little bit. You got a game against Auburn. You play Oklahoma coming up in a couple of weeks. I would say on the road against South Carolina doesn't look like it's going to be an easy game. I'd also say the game against Arkansas. Now, they're not playing the toughest SEC schedule in the world, but with the way that Missouri is played, I don't know what the best version of Missouri looks like this season. When do you think that Missouri has played well? And if you're telling me they played well against Buffalo and Murray State in week 1, then that doesn't count. Play well against a good team. Play well against a team that we've heard of before, that we can name their mascot. We can name Auburn's mascot. Go beat Auburn 31-20 this weekend. That's what a team that has a chance of making the playoff would do to a disappointing SEC team at home. Coming up at the top of the hour, we'll get back to the Chiefs as we are starting to transition to their game against San Francisco. Keep it right here. So Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5, The Fan, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this. Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Traffic brought to you by Streetcar Takeover this Friday and Saturday. Tickets at streetcar-takeover.com. Cordell and Cordell traffic cams showing that collision in North Kansas City that's at southbound 35 just past Armour, closing the right lane. Also, a stalled car still slowing traffic down at that 435 and 70 exchange. This is eastbound 70 to northbound 435. Get your tickets now for a weekend of horsepower, burnouts, car show, music, and adrenaline-fueled excitement at Streetcar Takeover this Friday and Saturday at the Flying H Drag Strip in Odessa. Kids 12 and under are free, plus trunk or treat Saturday for the kids. Online at streetcar-takeover.com. I'm Lori Pearson for 96.5 The Fan Traffic.
I'm McCall with Lee Summit Subaru, and our hotline is open. Annie from Kansas City, what's on your mind?
I want a dealership that I can trust for a lifetime. Is that you?
We're Google's highest review rated and only locally owned Subaru retailer in Kansas City. That's a good start.
I just want a great deal, that's all.
How about 0% financing on select 2025 Subaru models? That'll get you a low monthly payment. Fall in love with driving again at Lee Summit Subaru.
Google highest review rated Subaru retailer in Kansas City based on 2023 Google Analytics.
He's your cool in my Hey, it's Dick Ray. Clear your mainline drain, only $79. Call 913-DICK-RAY.
You're always better with a roof from JR.
We've had more than our fair share of hail and wind this year. Are you playing Roofer Roulette? That's when you bet your roof and your home on the first random roofer to ring your doorbell. Why do that when JR and Company offers a free hail and wind report online at jrstormcheck.com? Just plug in your address and we'll pull a multi-year storm report. You'll know exactly what your roof has been put through and if you even need an inspection. If you do, no one is more thorough and works better with your insurance than locally owned, veteran-owned JR and Company. And if you need a new roof, remember, a roof from JR comes with a lifetime warranty on workmanship. Don't play Roofer Roulette with your home. Visit jrstormcheck.com and remember,
you're always better with a roof from JR.
Visit jrstormcheck.com.
When you have an expert financial partner invested in you, you can't help but feel like a star. Like the new graduate opening their first investment account, the small business owner proudly adding a new location, or the young couple buying their first home. At Community America, we're invested in helping members achieve financial peace of mind with products and services tailored to each stage of life. Member owned, open to all. Community America Credit Union, invested in you.
It's Wrangler season out there. Warmer days, cooler nights. Open roads, endless horizons. And you need to be ready in jeans made for the unpredictable. Wrangler, for the ride of life. Shop our newest styles today at Wrangler.com.
Whether you're tinkering in your garage or tackling big projects, if you know the value of working with your hands, you know Harbor Freight. And you can be confident knowing that at Harbor Freight, you can get quality tools at prices that work just as hard as you do. Because the only thing more satisfying than a job well done is a job well done, well under budget. Whatever you do, do it for less at Harbor Freight.
Keep it twisted all year long with Twisted Tea Hard Iced Tea. Twisted Tea is real iced tea that packs a punch with 5% alcohol. Tastes great at the beach, the mountains, or even in your backyard. Look for the bright yellow Twisted Tea cans.
Twisted Tea Brewing Company, Cincinnati, Ohio. Please drink responsibly.
Timmy, everybody. Great job. Next up for our 5th grade class recital, we have Samantha.
10 times better performance can make a big difference. Castrol Edge Motor Oil gives your engine 10 times better high-stress performance. Castrol Edge, better oil for maximum performance. Now through December 28th, Castrol Edge and Edge High Mileage Motor Oil are on rollback at Walmart.
Claim based on sequence 9 test under high-load conditions versus API SP test limits.
If you love to travel, Capital One has a rewards credit card that's perfect for you. With Venture X, earn unlimited double miles on everything you buy and turn everyday purchases into extraordinary trips. Plus, receive premium travel benefits like access to over 1,300 airport lounges where you just check in and chill out. Open up a world of possibilities with Capital One. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Lounge access is subject to change. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Listen to the Chiefs and 49ers game on Sunday with pregame starting at noon. Kickoff at 3:25 with Mitch, Danon, and Kling right here on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan, KFNC FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station.
All right, I want to share a conversation with you guys that I had earlier this week, and I don't think I'm speaking out of turn for sharing a conversation with you guys. So I told you guys that I went on a radio station in San Francisco to begin the week, and this is their biggest game of the season. They have this game circled. They cannot wait. They're mad about the Super Bowl. They're hot. So me and the morning show host, we are friends. He sent me a text and he said, who are the top 5 teams that you think Chiefs fans are excited to play? And I gave him the list. Baltimore, Buffalo, Cincinnati, and the 2 teams in the division, Denver and Oakland, Las Vegas. And he said, where do you think San Francisco ranks? And I was like, maybe like 6 or 7 on the list. I don't think that you guys get up for San Francisco. And he replied and said, "This is like our Super Bowl." And I was thinking, interesting. I mean, in some ways, I get it, right? If you have lost to a team in 2 of the last 5 Super Bowls, I understand why you feel that way about the team. You remember the last time that the Chiefs went to San Francisco, they blew San Francisco out. That was Christian McCaffrey's first game. He had just gotten traded from Carolina, and they used him sparingly in the game, but they still got blown out. It does have to bother you, and looking at it through the San Francisco perspective, I think San Francisco has clearly been the second best team in the league over the course of the last 5 years. I know they haven't won the Super Bowl, and the Rams have won the Super Bowl, and Tampa Bay has over the last 5 years. But San Francisco has been consistently better than those two teams. Man, it has to burn you, the fact that every time you think you really had a shot, you've lost to Patrick Mahomes. In 2, I would say, pretty epic ways. The Chiefs were down 20-10 with less than 8 minutes to go in the Super Bowl, and they beat you by double digits. You then had them down again double digits in the second half of the game, and then Patrick Mahomes happens, and he does a walk-off touchdown in overtime because your head coach made the decision to take the ball as opposed to kicking it, and you kind of know what you need to do. I understand why the Niners fans feel this way. Maybe this is the game that you guys have circled, 913-586-7965. This just doesn't feel like one of those games to me. It feels to me that you guys are going to have more energy towards Las Vegas whenever the Chiefs play them in a couple of weeks because of what happened in the offseason with the puppets. And you know the Chiefs remember that. You remember George Karlaftis knew the date and they were talking about it. You know, the Raiders were openly disrespectful. I believe that you guys have respect for San Francisco. You should have respect for San Francisco. They're a really good football team. They're talented. They have a lot of weapons on offense. They have a capable defense, good coach. San Francisco is a good team. I just don't think you guys really worry about them that much because they're in the NFC and because they've never really appeared to be a threat to Kansas City in that way. They've come really close. What's that Geico commercial with the guy and he has that dot? It's like, oh, not so fast. That's kind of how San Francisco has been. They're a good football team. They really have. But if you're telling me that that's the second best team in the NFL over the course of this Mahomes run, they haven't come close to really winning the Super Bowl. They haven't come close. I just think you guys hey, they're good. They're a good team. You know, this game's means more to them than it means to us. If we lose this game, it's no big deal. We got bigger fish to fry. I just don't feel that level of energy for this game. I know when you guys get really fired up about something. They play on the road against Buffalo in a couple of weeks. That's the game that you guys will be really fired up for. When they go on the road to play Las Vegas next week, you guys will be really fired up about that. Black Friday at home against Las Vegas, the game against Houston right around Christmas time, the Christmas Day game. For a team that's as good as San Francisco, this just doesn't feel like one of the top 5 games on the Chiefs' schedule. The Ravens game was bigger than this one. The Bengals game felt bigger than this one. On the road against Atlanta on Sunday Night Football felt like it was a bigger game. I'm not even sure if you guys think this is a top 5 game on their schedule, at least in terms of the energy that I perceive you guys to have about this game. Certainly tell me if I'm wrong. 913-586-7965. That is just the feeling that I have about this game. Let's go to the phone lines really quickly. Andy Vasquez just called in. He is with the New Jersey Star-Ledger. Let's learn a little bit more about Mike Williams, who certainly feels like he is available after the trade with Davante Adams to the Jets. Andy, man, appreciate you calling in today, man.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, man. Let's just start with this. How quickly did this Davante Adams thing come together? Because they play the game, and then it seems like he was already there. It seems like he was in the Uber outside just waiting for Schefter to make the tweet, and then it was going to go through. It feels like this trade came together really quickly to send Adams to the Jets.
Yeah, well, the timeline we got from him and Aaron Rodgers today, it sounds like Rodgers didn't really know it was that far along, according to what Rodgers said, and then Adams, found out sometime pretty late on Monday, that it was going to happen. He called Rodgers after the game on Monday night. Rodgers didn't pick up because he was still angry about the result. But he called him back like around 1 a.m. Eastern. They apparently had a long conversation about the Jets' issues, and then Adams was like, I'm coming. And then Adams got on a red eye that night and was at the facility on Tuesday. So, yeah, it came together quickly. Rodgers obviously is excited about it because it's another guy that he's really comfortable with. We've already seen with Allen Lazard what that can do. Allen Lazard looks like a totally different guy this year, still struggling with drops, but playing much better. And it's interesting. Yeah, I think he's going to help out the Jets offense a lot. And the plan is for him to play on Sunday, so we'll get to see how much he can help pretty quickly.
Does this really move the needle, in your opinion? Granted, it is a big move. You pick up a potential all-pro wide receiver. The problem to me with the Jets is they just can't block. And unless they solve that problem, I don't really know how much different the Jets are going to be. But again, you add a really talented player, and they got pieces on offense. Breece Hall's a top 5 back. You've got Garrett Wilson. You've got Devontae Adams now. I really like the Braylon Allen kid, the backup running back. They have pieces, but it seems like they just haven't addressed what their biggest problem is, and they just can't protect up front.
Yeah, I was skeptical too, but you look back at the last 3 games, they've lost by a combined 10 points. And you start to think about it, and that's been with obviously a guy in Mike Williams that Rodgers is not comfortable with. I don't think that's a secret at this point. And you throw in a guy that he's comfortable with, and you wonder, do they score a touchdown, or do they get points on one of those 3 drives in the last 3 games at the end of the game that they couldn't score on, where they could have tied or tied in the case of Monday night, or taken the lead against Minnesota or Denver. They had the ball with a chance to do that and couldn't get it done. So the margin between being 5-1 and what they are 2-4 is thin. And I'm not like a big excuses guy. I know there's close games in the NFL all the time, but they are close. The offense hasn't played well. It played a lot better against Buffalo. And I do think it could make a big difference for them, more than it would if you were putting him into a place where it wasn't Aaron Rodgers, it wasn't Devontae Adams. I think him and their relationship, in terms of their chemistry on the field, it really can make a big difference for this offense.
Right now, we're talking to Andy Vasquez for a couple more minutes, learning a little bit more about the Jets. Let's find out about Mike Williams. I guess 3-part question here. Why do you think it didn't work in New York? How much do you think he has left in the tank? And what do you think the compensation is going to be like to go grab Mike Williams, where it appears like he is clearly on his way out?
Yeah, I'm not sure what they're going to give. To start with the last one, what they can get for him in a trade, because it's been a pretty small sample size. He hasn't been able to get involved. I think it's clear at this point. You might have speculated about his injury or whatever coming off the ACL before this last game, but the fact that Rodgers called him out on that interception at the end of the game and then backed it up again yesterday, it makes you think it wasn't the only issue that they've had. You remember the final play of the Vikings loss? He threw an interception while trying to find Williams, and Williams never even turned around to look at the ball. He wasn't expecting it, and that's happened with the different receiver the week before in the final throw of the game. So, or twice on that final drive. So I think it's probably he didn't click with the offense. It didn't work. I mean, I think physically he's looked pretty good. He's made some big catches when he's gotten the opportunity. Doesn't have a drop problem or anything, and doesn't seem to be limited by his injury. So I think there's a chance that they could get a late round pick or something for him, because he is healthy, and they probably need to move the salary now after adding Adams and the potential of Reddick coming back. But it may not be an easy ask to get something of value and move the salary. I think it might be more of a salary dump than anything if they're going to move him.
When you mention the health, I mean, is he healthy enough? Because we're just looking here in Kansas City, and is he a guy that's going to help? I think he's going to fit in the price range. I also just think, he's not in Rodgers' circle. I think we know who is in Rodgers' circle. He is not, and it's probably in his best interest to move on. Do you think there's enough there? Do you think he's healthy enough that he could help any team in the league?
Well, first, in case it wasn't brought up, Williams showed up unexpectedly. It wasn't mentioned before practice, and a bunch of injuries where he showed up on the injury report today, but for personal reasons, which is another sign that he's on his way out. Right after getting called out by Rodgers and the trade rumors. And then, there's no reason to think he's not healthy. They said they had him on a snap count early in the season. The snap count, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but it seemed to be that he wasn't on any limitation. There hasn't been any sort of obvious limitation to the way he's been running or playing. And, I don't think that's been the issue. So I think it's more of him not getting on the same page as Rodgers. Maybe that's because they weren't in camp together, whatever. But I still think Mike Williams is a good receiver. I don't think that's changed, and he doesn't look like a completely different guy than he looked like before the injury. I just don't think the ball's coming his way as much here for the reasons I said before.
That is Andy Vasquez joining us on the show. He's with the New Jersey Star-Ledger, joining us to get the latest on Mike Williams, who it appears could possibly be available for the Kansas City Chiefs. Andy, man, great stuff, man. We appreciate you.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. That's Andy Vasquez. Let's talk a little bit more about Mike Williams on the other side. Is he even a player that you'd be interested in? Keep it right here. So Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your new home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Hi, it's Derek Johnson, and I know there's nothing better than being part of a team. A group of great people you can count on and learn from. The Sheet Metalworkers, Local Number 2, are growing their team and looking for quality men and women who want to build Kansas City's future. While you're making KC a better place, you'll also get great pay and benefits while gaining lifelong skills. Explore the possibilities at sheetmetal2.org. That's sheetmetal2.org. And take a step towards a fulfilling and rewarding way of life.
We interrupt with a special report from the Missouri Lottery. With a new millionaire every 8.1 days last year, there's no shortage of Missouri Lottery winners. However, there is currently a shortage of confetti. This may impact all confetti-related activities, hullabaloos, whoop-de-doos, jamborees, shebangs, and any and all festive goings-ons. Rest assured, Missouri Lottery winners will receive a single confetto with every big win for the time being. We apologize for the shortage, but not the winning. Thus concludes this report from the Missouri Lottery. Winners welcome. Play responsibly.
Kids playing in a lawn sprinkler. That's fun. Fire sprinklers. That's serious business. You seldom think about the fire sprinkler system in your commercial building, but Keller Fire and Safety thinks about sprinklers every workday, inspecting, testing, maintaining, repairing, ensuring that they'll work properly to protect people and property in case of a fire. Call Keller.
Keeping the fire marshal happy
Since 1950.
Keller Fire and Safety.
KellerFire.com.
At Shane Company, we make finding your perfect engagement ring fun and easy. Because let's be honest, you might feel a little stressed out. We get it. That's why we do all the hard stuff. It's our job to bring you the biggest selection of beautiful diamonds and colorful gemstones, so many amazing settings, and all the customization your heart desires. We've got your style and your price range covered, and we're here to guide you every step of the way. Come in for a warm welcome and leave with your dream ring and an experience you'll never forget. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
When it comes to financial goals, everyone has that one thing you want to accomplish. Raise your credit score, give your kitchen a well-deserved glow-up, or eliminate credit card debt. At Main Street Credit Union, your main thing, well, that's our thing. It's what we're passionate about, helping you achieve your main thing. So bring us your wants, your needs, and your goals. We'll provide you with the tools to achieve them. Go to mainstreetcu.org for more information.
I'm Mitch Holtis, voice of the Kansas City Chiefs. Choosing the best doctor for your eyes is one of the most important medical decisions you'll ever make. Whether you're considering blade-free LASIK, all laser cataract surgery, and premium lens implants, or want a world-renowned doctor to help with your glaucoma, macular degeneration, dry eyes, or diabetes, trust my doctor, Dr. Steven Silverstein. Call Silverstein Eye Centers to make an appointment, 816-358-3600. Experience the best eye care in Kansas City.
This year, FanDuel is giving you a chance to win big every Thursday night with FanDuel Squares. It's the same Super Bowl Squares game you've always known, only better. That's because your numbers aren't just randomly assigned. You get to pick them yourself. You can pick as many as you like. You'll get to see the odds beforehand, and you can bet them live during the game. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com/Alex and bet on Squares. Plus, if you're new to FanDuel, you can bet $5 to get $300 in bonus bets if you win. FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL and 96.5 The Fan. 21 and present in Kansas. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under an agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Getting help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
Touchdown, Renner! Almost Andy Reid here. You know, a few years ago, my wife surprised me with tickets to a Halloween ball. And guess what? That night I discovered a new passion. Now I've added to that passion, cheering on the greatest team with the greatest garage door company of all time. Renner offers top-notch repair services, new doors, and LiftMaster openers. It's the perfect three-peat forward and back, RENNER with Renner. You'll stay on the championship track. Visit rennerdoor.com.
What's up, Kansas City? It's Mitchell Schwartz. You know, there's nothing easier to enjoy than watching the Chiefs with some wings and an ice-cold Bud Light. And Buffalo Wild Wings is serving up both for every game, all season long. Join me at the Buffalo Wild Wings located at 137th and Metcalf in Overland Park on Friday, October 18th. I'll be there with the crew from 6 to 8 p.m. celebrating the back-to-back Super Bowl champs while eating some wings and drinking $5 Bud Lights. Nothing easier to enjoy than that. Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. For more details, go to 965thefan.com. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch, Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
This is the story of the one. As a facility technician installing a new welding station, he knows getting the ventilation right is critical for safety. That's why when questions arise, there's Grainger. Grainger offers detailed technical product information online at his fingertips, so it's easy to find what he needs. Because when it comes to safety, having answers means he and his people can breathe a little easier. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
I'm at the movies, asking people if they'll switch seats with me for $574.
Here, take mine.
So what about $574 if you switch your home insurance to Allstate?
Too much work.
Not if you call them. They handle the switching.
Now, that's a plot twist.
Shh. Check Allstate first, and you could save hundreds on quality home insurance today. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Not available in every state. Based on the national average annual savings for new home insurance customers surveyed in 2023 who switched to Allstate and reported savings. Savings vary.
Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
This traffic is brought to you by Streetcar Takeover this Friday and Saturday. Tickets at streetcar-takeover.com. Cordell and Cordell traffic cam showing that right lane still closed for a stalled car eastbound 70 to northbound 435. Multi-car crash in North Kansas City. Southbound 35 to Shoto Traffic Way, also stop in traffic. Get your tickets now for a weekend of horsepower, burnouts, car show, music, and adrenaline-fueled excitement at Streetcar Takeover this Friday and Saturday at the Flying H Drag Strip in Odessa. Kids 12 and under are free, plus trunk or treat Saturday for the kids online at streetcar-takeover.com. I'm Lori Pearson for 96.5 The Fan Traffic.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios.
Chiefs fans, it's Hollywood Brown. Welcome to The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan.
I want to tell you guys a relatable story. Last week, I bought a new television. And I went to Best Buy. And I'm still kind of old school. Like, I like to talk to the people that work there and ask them questions and kind of walk around, you know. I'm not saying it's a big purchase, but, you know, you're going to have it in your home, hopefully, for years. I like to ask them questions, learn a little bit more about it. So I was walking around, and the man started giving me his pitch. He was showing me this TV, and the TV was really nice. It was a Sony TV. I asked him how much it was. He said $1,600. And I looked at him and said, I'm not spending that much on a television. So then we walked down to another part, and the TVs were in my price range. I only tell you guys that story because I think we have to be realistic about the price range that you think the Chiefs are in. So this gentleman, he sent in a text, and he said, C-Dot, why are you talking about Mike Williams when we want Christian Kirk? Well, did you know that Christian Kirk has 2 years and $31 million left on his contract? You want to know what team I don't think is trading for Christian Kirk? The Chiefs. I don't know what we know about the Chiefs over the course of the last couple of years in a post-Tyreek Hill world that would lead you to believe that they're about to trade draft picks and pay Christian Kirk. So I don't think that Christian Kirk is a realistic option for the Kansas City Chiefs. So that's why I haven't spent any time talking about him. That's why we haven't had anybody on from Jacksonville. I don't think they're getting. If they don't want Amari Cooper, they don't want Christian Kirk. So let's go to the side of the store that is in our price range. You can still get a nice TV for $600-700. You're just not going to get that 98-inch Sony TV high definition. You're not getting that TV with the amount of money that you have, but you can still get a good TV. The Chiefs can get a capable wide receiver at a good price. But if you are going to do that, it is going to cost you that third-round pick. You are not getting a good wide receiver, in my opinion, for cheaper than that third-round pick. Now, you can walk down to the other aisle and get you a Westinghouse TV. You can watch the game on there. It's not going to be nearly as clear as those other two TVs, but it's a flat-screen TV. You can watch it. Now, it might break. Your resolution isn't going to be that high, but you know what? It's a flat-screen TV at a good price. That's what I would say that Demarcus Robinson is. That's kind of what I think Darius Slayton is. So to me, it's about what do you think the Chiefs' price range is to go get themselves a wide receiver? The Chiefs, we all would agree, are in the market for a new wide receiver. I think they are going to buy a new wide receiver in the next 3 weeks. What is their price range? Is their price range a third-round pick? If they're willing to trade a third-round pick, they can go get DeAndre Hopkins. If they're willing to trade a third-round pick, they can go get Deontay Johnson. If they're willing to take on the cap space for both of those players, because Amari Cooper's cap space was less than $1 million. That's not what Deontay Johnson's cap hit is going to be. That's not what Christian Kirk's cap hit's going to be. That's not what DeAndre Hopkins' cap hit is for the rest of the season. So if you think they're in that third-round range, then those are the options that you can go get. You can get a pretty good wide receiver for a third-round pick. If you're willing to do the Brett Veach special, then you need to go down to the other end of the store, and they're getting Demarcus Robinson. You can get Demarcus Robinson, I'm guessing, for real cheap. Let me check up Demarcus Robinson's contract really quickly here, Rob. Let me look at it. I'm going to assume that the Demarcus Robinson contract is very manageable for the Chiefs. You know what? He is on a 1-year, $4 million deal. You can go get Demarcus Robinson then if that's what you want to do. That ain't nothing. That means you owe him $2.5 million the rest of the way for a guy that knows the system. And for a team that we don't think is making the playoffs, sure, you can get him for a 6th-round pick. You can get him for a pick swap if you want, if you're the Chiefs. So that's where I think this conversation has to start. What do you think their price range is? What do you think they're willing to spend?
I do not think the Chiefs are going to be big spenders at the deadline. Like, I just don't. I mean, the Christian Kirk part aside, because I think that's nonsensical, I don't think they're getting a name that fans are going to be like, oh, man, can you believe they got him? You know, baseball has a more active trade deadline in the NFL, but the NBA is the one where it's like stars get moved. That ain't happening with the Chiefs. I think for your best buy analogy, they are on the clearance rack, and they are looking for a Demarcus Robinson, a Slayton type, maybe a notch above with a Deontay Johnson type, but they are looking for a, hey, we're going to buy it cheap, it's going to work for the rest of the year, and then when we don't need it anymore, we don't have to keep paying for it. I think the Christian Kirk types, I think the Calvin Ridley types, I think those types that are going to have multiple years of control and thus get more expensive are unlikely to be how the Chiefs operate, because I think the Chiefs are going to use their draft picks to make draft picks next year, because as it currently sits, when the first game of the season happens in 2025, which I know fans don't want to talk about 2025 because 3-peat or bust in their mind, but they are playing a game in 25. Right now, the wide receiving core is who? Because Rashee Rice is under contract, but what's his health? What's his suspension going to look like? We don't know. Hollywood Brown's contract will be over at that time next year. Maybe they bring him back on a cheap deal. I don't know. We'll just see. Xavier Worthy, I forgot him. He's probably one that will be on that starting field, but Juju's not on a multiple-year deal. Justin Watson's not on a multiple-year deal. Like, the players they have available for 2025 is
Hollywood Brown also is in that category too.
Exactly.
Yeah, their room is going to be empty at the end of this year,
Very
basically,
empty.
other than Rashee Rice.
And Xavier
McCole is also another player on a 1-year deal. Like 4 of their wide receivers are on 1-year deals.
And you know what the Chiefs have shown me they can't do? Find wide receivers around 5, 6, and 7. So you know what? I think they're going to use a premium pick again on a wide receiver. So I don't think they're going to trade that premium pick on October 20 whatever, whenever the deadline is, to get a Cooper or a Kirk or a type that moves the needle for fans. So if for some reason you bought a Demarcus Robinson jersey, dust it off. He might be a Chief again. If you really like Slayton, go buy yourself a jersey. He'll be a Chief. Or if you're hot and bothered by Deontay Johnson, it's a chance, but I wouldn't waste time or energy with things like, DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah, I guess when it comes to MVS, I don't have a problem with MVS if you were bringing him back on a practice squad deal and you still make another move. As long as that's the criteria for them bringing back MVS, I think he's perfectly fine. I don't love MVS. I was the one that started calling him Mr. Applebee's because he was good for a 2 for $20. I'm not advocating for MVS, but what I am saying is these are their available wide receivers. Xavier Worthy, Juju Smith-Schuster, Justin Watson, Mecole Hardman, and Sky Moore. That's who they have right now. Bringing in MVS to be on the back half of that room is not the worst thing that you can do. Now, I hope that doesn't mean that that's all you're going to do between now and then. Hey, we're going to get the gang back together. We're basically going to get we've won the Super Bowl with you All-Stars and see if it works. We won one with Juju. We won one with Justin Watson, Mecole Hardman, Sky Moore, MVS. We're going to run it back with all of these guys, and we're going to go win another one. I hope that's not their plan. I want them to go get Deontay Johnson. I wanted Amari Cooper. He is now off the board. Deontay Johnson, to me, fits a lot of the things that they like. But again, back to the analogy, it really comes down to what do you think the Chiefs' budget is and what are they willing to spend? Some of you, when it came to last week for the playoff game, you wanted to go to the Royals game. You then looked at the prices. Hey, I normally sit lower level. I can't afford those lower level seats, or I'm not willing to spend that for a divisional round baseball game. You know what? I don't mind walking upstairs, walking up that spiral, and sitting in 420 for this game. I just want to be in attendance. That's kind of where I think the Chiefs are. I just think the Chiefs want a wide receiver. I don't think that they are trading a third-round pick. I would be surprised if they trade a third-round pick. And again, there's not that many available options for a player that I think is even worthy of doing that for. I think it's Deontay Johnson. I personally would not trade a third-round pick for DeAndre Hopkins. You had a chance to sign DeAndre Hopkins, and you declined doing it. He chose to go to Tennessee. He signed a 2-year contract. You had a chance to get DeAndre Hopkins if you wanted to, and you made the decision no. I'm now not trading a third-round pick for a contract that we didn't want. That's not what I would do if I'm Brett Veach. So I don't think they're going to get DeAndre Hopkins. I also don't think they're going to get Christian Kirk just because of the money that is attached to it. I think he's going to be a little bit pricey. He's still under 30, and he's still under contract for the next 2 years. And I don't think that they're paying Christian Kirk $15.5 million next season to play for the Chiefs. We have seen enough Chiefs off seasons at wide receiver to know the kind of wide receiver that they're going to get at the end of the year. They're going to get somebody on a 1-year, team-friendly, come play with Patrick Mahomes and go get paid contract. They've done that in the last 3 consecutive seasons. I'm going to guess that they're going to do that for 4, and they'll probably spend another draft pick this offseason in trying to go find another option at wide receiver because, to your point, Rob, they need more wide receiver bodies.
I also think, and this is a common sentiment on the text line, where people are saying, why don't they get a multiple-year guy? I also think, and I can pull the cut from Matt Verderam, Danny Parkins was on Breakfast Ball saying this a couple weeks ago, the Chiefs' cap situation right now is not really that of we can add a multiple-year big-money guy. They have, $4.9 million in cap space, which is fine to add DeMarcus Robinson. It's more than enough to get Deontay Johnson on the roster and stay under the number.
You got to do you got to do some math if you're going to go get Christian Kirk.
And you know what?
Or DeAndre Hopkins. You have to do some math.
And I know everyone says the cap is fake and players restructure all the time. Do you know when players don't restructure?
During the middle of the season.
They don't restructure in the middle of the season. It just doesn't happen. You don't take a player and say, hey, let's manipulate your guaranteed money in October and then get under the cap. So those are the factors the Chiefs are playing with. They are likely a little bit hamstrung by the cap, which changes the, trajectory of who you can shoot for. And I think they are going to lowball a potential, bidder trying to get a pennies on the dollar cheap, he helps us now type of a guy, but we're not breaking the bank to do it. Like, you know, we were talking about in July during the Royals trade deadline, which is they're either going to add a guy with multiple years of control, but baseball contracts are different, or a cheap guy and just see if they can make it work. That's how the Chiefs are going to operate at wide receiver. They're looking for Paul DeYoung. That's who they're looking for. They're not looking for, you know, Jazz Chisholm at the deadline. That's just how the Chiefs are going to operate in the next couple weeks.
I want to tell you something. There's not that many people listening, so I feel like I can say this. I've got 2 very small beefs with Clark Hunt. Number one, Clark Hunt is doing the thing that I want to do. Rob, what have I told you? What do I want to do one day? I want to be the one that turns on the plaza lights. I mean, what has Clark Hunt done? What has he done where he is worthy enough of being able to turn on the plaza lights? Is he hosting a radio show every day here in Kansas City? No, he's not. I should have been on the short list of people to turn on the plaza lights. But, oh, yeah, the owner of the Kansas City Chiefs, he gets to turn on the lights. No. So I got a little bit of a beef with Clark Hunt.
Real quick, why is he the guy? Does losing a stadium vote make you plaza light worthy? What has he done this year?
Nothing. He haven't done anything this year. He shouldn't even have been eligible to turn on the plaza lights. My second beef is I'm not calling Clark Hunt a liar. I just don't believe what you said. Let me play for you what Clark Hunt had to say earlier today because, of course, you got to ask the owner about the stadium. Hey, you guys lost the stadium vote. We still don't know where the stadium's going to be. One state has made a pretty serious proposal and offer for you guys to move over there for the stadium. Here's Clark Hunt with the update.
So for the last 3 months or so, since I had a chance to visit with y'all at training camp, we've been working on creating some options, not only for the stadium, but also for potentially a new training facility. We've been looking at a lot of sites on both the Kansas and Missouri sides, as well as talking to the political leaders in Missouri about perhaps renovating Arrowhead again. We're not at the end of that process at all. We continue to have good conversations, and we're hopeful that by the spring we'll have some direction. I certainly don't expect to have anything finalized by that point, but I'd like to know, the direction that we're headed in that time frame.
All right. I'm not calling Clark Hunt a liar. I just don't believe what you said. I do not believe that the Chiefs have a serious interest in renovating Arrowhead Stadium. I saw the renovations the last time. The renovations were meager. I saw them. You saw them. No one has still ever been able to explain to me what their plan was with all the space that they have by Kauffman Stadium not being there. They use some term called fun activation zone and never explained anything else of what their plan was out there. I do not believe that the Chiefs have a serious plan in renovating Arrowhead. These are their options. Their options are have the state of Kansas pay for almost 80% of a brand new stadium or take pennies on the dollar to renovate their 50-something-year-old stadium. Every team in the NFL is taking the brand new stadium other than the Green Bay Packers. They're the only team in the NFL that wouldn't take that deal. And Green Bay also spent a massive renovation, a serious one, not just suites. It is a massive renovation on Lambeau. They have no interest in moving their stadium. They're going to keep the one that they have. They're the only team in the league. I just don't believe those are the conversations that you've been having. I don't believe at any point you have talked to the Missouri about, hey, well, you know what? I know that renovation was kind of lackluster last time, and the fans told us it was kind of lackluster. We're going to try again. And no. The next time we come to you, we're not asking for 3/8 of a cent sales tax that could maybe give us $30 or $40 million a year. No, we need $400 million is what we need. And we're not putting that towards this stadium that was built in the 60s and 70s. We're putting this towards the most beautiful stadium in the world. That's what we're putting this money towards. And the other thing, I'm not believing. I don't believe it. Again, I'm not saying he's lying. I just don't believe what he's saying. There's not multiple locations in Missouri that stadium is going. There's one location in Missouri that it is going to go, where it currently is. That's the only location. Where is the other place in Missouri that stadium could go? Tell me where it could go. I live in Missouri. Rob, you've been to Missouri endless amounts of time. Where's the other place in Jackson County that a football stadium could go? They're not putting a football stadium in downtown. The Chiefs are not moving to Blue Springs or Lee Summit. Where is another place in the 816 area code that Arrowhead Stadium can go other than where Kauffman Stadium currently is?
And now with a training facility. He slid that in there too.
Yeah.
We're also looking for a new training facility. Oh, so the tab just got bigger. That's
They are
nice.
not moving to North Kansas City or Platte County or any of those things. Their two options are the Legends or where they currently are. I also don't think there's another location in Johnson County either. I think there's only two possibilities for the Chiefs. You live in Kansas. I just don't think they're moving to 150th and Metcalf. I just don't think they're moving all the way out where Blue Valley High School is. I just don't think that's where the Chiefs Stadium is going to be. If they're moving, they're going to move it to a place that already has all the infrastructure that they need, and then they're going to add a little bit of Chief sauce out there. Or they're going to have all this room because the Royals have moved, and now they can do whatever they want because they now have reached a deal where they own this land. Jackson County, you don't own this land anymore. We own this land. Those are the only two situations I can see the Chiefs agreeing to.
I mean, the other thing I heard in that cut, other than everything you said, the multiple locations is a lie, or maybe it's a lie of omission, but there's not multiple locations, whatever. I will say this, the fact that they're now talking about building a training facility makes me more of the belief they're moving to Kansas, because if they can put a training facility there, you know what they're going to do then? They're going to have camp there, like every other team in the NFL. And you know what they're going to do? They're going to have events and parties at their camp on their facility
100%.
On the land they own. So if they're going to now build a training facility and new stadium, there are two spots. And those two spots are going to involve a nice new shiny stadium and a nice new shiny training facility. It is not going to be lipstick on the situation they currently have. It is going to be new. So 2031 feels like a long time from now, 7 years. But in 2031, they are likely not playing at GEHA Field at Arrowhead Stadium. They're playing at some new place that we're going to call the house that Pat built. That's what's going to be happening.
Yeah, text line 913-586-7965. CDOT, maybe they could build where Cerner is, where Bannister Mall used to be. It doesn't make sense to me if you are the Chiefs. We all know that the Royals are moving at some point, right? We know they are moving. I can't tell you exactly when the Royals are moving, but the Royals have made it clear at every single turn that they will not be at the Truman Sports Complex. I just don't think the Chiefs are moving from all of this area to then go create a new open area in the state of Missouri. That just doesn't make sense to me if you were the Chiefs. Just stay where you are then. The Royals are moving, blow up Kauffman Stadium, and build your stadium right there. You have everything that's already in place right there to do it. So I would be stunned. I actually think that it's more likely that they renovate Arrowhead than they build a new stadium in Missouri that's not on the Truman Sports Complex. I just don't see that being any possible scenario. I think there's only two scenarios. They build a new stadium out by the Kansas Speedway and Hollywood Casino, and they create the Chiefs Kingdom, or whenever Kauffman Stadium is eventually razed and demolished, they build new Arrowhead right next to where it is, and they do basically what the Cardinals did with Busch Stadium, and they did what the Yankees did with Yankee Stadium. Those are the only scenarios I see the Chiefs having. Coming up in about 15 minutes, Binkley's going to join us in studio. We're going to have some fall beers with Bink. Keep it right here, so Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your new home for K-State Athletics, 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Hey, it's Carrington Harrison from The Drive here for our new friends over at Heartland Men's Health. Did you know that over half of men over the age of 50 experience erectile dysfunction, and it can also affect younger men as well? ED just isn't a medical issue. It can take a toll on your confidence and your relationship. Well, at Heartland Men's Health, they believe that ED is treatable, and their expert team is offering up solutions with a success rate of over 90%. I want you to take back control, and just for $99, your initial visit includes a medical consultation, some tests, and even a test dose. And if that doesn't work, then your visit is free for the price of on the house. So check out one of their 3 area convenient locations, Overland Park, Independence, and North Kansas City. Men, do not settle. Pick up the phone and call Heartland Men's Health today at 844-447-6600 or check out the website, heartlandmenshealth.com.
This season, get premium tech that inspires joy from Dell Technologies. Bring projects to life with the XPS 16. It delivers supercharged processing for enhanced productivity and freedom to express yourself. Performance-class Dell PCs with Intel Core Ultra processors deliver a dedicated engine to help accelerate AI. Enjoy free shipping, Dell rewards, and expert support. When you get a Dell PC with AI, it gives back. Shop now at Dell.com/deals.
You've been waiting, and now is the time. Golden Oak Lending has fixed mortgage rates at 4.875%. But don't wait, this rate won't last forever. Call today and take advantage of our low 4.875 fixed rate. Call 913-890-GOLD. That's 913-890-GOLD.
Golden Oak Landing, cured my blues.
5.784 APR, FHA, 15-year, 20% equity, qualified credit. Additional terms apply. NMLS 114937.
Hey, it's Rex here with RexBuysKC.com, your local KC home buyer. If you own a property in the Kansas City or surrounding area and want to sell it fast and at a fair price, write this number down, 816-330-6000. I'm a private real estate investor, not some hedge fund or large national chain. My family and I live right here in KC. I can pay cash and close on your timeline, even in as little as 3 days. Here at RexBuysKC.com, we're improving Kansas City one house at a time. I buy inherited houses, vacant houses, foreclosure houses, behind in payment houses, my tenant won't pay the rent houses, and properties that need complete rehabs. Do you own a house that's trashed and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great. If you own a house and want to sell it fast, call me at this number, 816-330-6000. That's 816-330-6000, or go to RexBuysKC.com. That's RexBuysKC.com, and I look forward to working with you.
I'm McCall with Lee Summit Subaru, and our hotline is open. Annie from Kansas City, what's on your mind?
I want a dealership that I can trust for a lifetime. Is that you?
We're Google's highest review rated and only locally owned Subaru retailer in Kansas City. That's a good start.
I just want a great deal. That's all.
How about 0% financing on select 2025 Subaru models? That'll get you a low monthly payment. Fall in love with driving again at Lee Summit Subaru.
Google highest review-rated Subaru retailer in Kansas City based on 2023 Google Analytics.
Dick Ray, he's your cooling magician. Dick Ray, he's a man on a mission. When it's hot and humid, your AC's failing and it's causing quite the fuss. There's an AC expert you know that you can trust. He's there for us. Call Dick Ray, he's your cooling magician.
Hey, it's Dick Ray. Schedule your AC tune-up, only $79. 913-DICK-RAY.
It's Wrangler season out there. Warmer days, cooler nights. Open roads, endless horizons. And you need to be ready in jeans made for the unpredictable. Wrangler, for the ride of life. Shop our newest styles today at Wrangler.com.
Whether you're tinkering in your garage or tackling big projects, if you know the value of working with your hands, you know Harbor Freight. And you can be confident knowing that at Harbor Freight, you can get quality tools at prices that work just as hard as you do. Because the only thing more satisfying than a job well done is a job well done, well under budget. Whatever you do, do it for less at Harbor Freight.
Keep it twisted all year long with Twisted Tea Hard Iced Tea. Twisted Tea is real iced tea that packs a punch with 5% alcohol. Tastes great at the beach, the mountains, or even in your backyard. Look for the bright yellow Twisted Tea cans.
Twisted Tea Brewing Company, Cincinnati, Ohio. Please drink responsibly.
Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Traffic sponsored by Park and Go, your top choice for all covered airport parking. Stalled car northbound 35 at the on-ramp from 12th Street. That's stopping traffic. Still looking at the stalled car. Westbound 70 just past the Blue Ridge cutoff. That has moved off to the shoulder, but traffic's still slow around it. And a multi-car crash stopping traffic southbound 35 to Shoto Traffic Way. Tackle your airport parking needs at Park and Go. Always the best service, always the best price. Open 24/7. Fast and free shuttle services. All spots are covered. Reserve your spot today at bookparkandgo.com. Park and Go, family owned and operated. I'm Lori Pearson in 96.5 The Fan Traffic.
Patrick Mahomes joins CDOT every week during the season, right here on 96.5 The Fan.
Coming up in about 10 minutes or so, Binkley's going to join us in studio. We're going to do Beers with Bink. We have 6 separate fall beers. I did not have any hand in the selection of these beers. One of these is a pumpkin spice nitro. That's a Rob, that has your handiwork. I know your craftsmanship, brother, and that's a Rob Britton selection.
There's 2 in there for you. 2 you really like. The pumpkin spice nitro latte you might not like.
Okay. I don't think I've ever had a pumpkin spice latte that wasn't alcohol related. Now it's doing a lot.
I'm excited for you to try that one.
When did pumpkin really become like a thing? Let me rephrase it. I understand that it's always been a thing. It seems over the course of the last 5 years, there has been much more of a push for pumpkin and for it to start earlier than ever before. Pumpkin seems like something that should only be sold from October 1st until October 31st. Then somewhere along the way, we started to make it a push where we started selling pumpkin-flavored things right before Labor Day. And that just seems like it's too much pumpkin too early in the year.
I don't know why you're anti-pumpkin. Are you part of some anti-pumpkin coalition? Pumpkin has a very short shelf life. So, if we can extend it on the front end, I'm all for it. Because you know as well as I know, on Black Friday, when you're headed out to Arrowhead to watch Chiefs and Raiders, it is officially peppermint season, and pumpkin season has ended. So we can't extend pumpkin season on the back end. We can only extend it on the front end. So, of course, it's Labor Day to Thanksgiving. That's the window.
Okay, no, I just didn't know. Pumpkin's not really a flavor of mine. But, hey, if you guys are into pumpkin-flavored things, we certainly will give them a try. I have not asked you this question. I did ask Patrick Mahomes this question. We'll get back to football here coming up in a bit. On a scale from 1 to 10, how crispy do you like your bacon? So 1 is extra floppy, 10 extra crispy, almost burnt.
So this is when I'm eating bacon like with eggs, like in the morning, right? This is not like BLT bacon.
Because I think that's a good distinction, because I think on a BLT, I usually want it a little crispier, where if I'm eating it with a breakfast, like let's say I get an omelet and then I get bacon off to the side, I want that bacon cooked a little bit differently than I would want bacon on a sandwich. I want it to have that crispness if I'm eating it with the BLT. I want it to have that crunch. I don't necessarily want the crunch, though, if I'm eating it on for a traditional breakfast. I'm probably more of a 3.5 to a 4. I like a little more floppy bacon.
So for a BLT, I'm like a 7 or an 8. Crispy, crunchy, I need that in the sandwich. But I'm with you. If it's like, hey, we're getting some Waffle House, or hey, we're getting a nice brunch, you want some bacon, I like it in that 3.5 to 4 range. I like a little chew to my bacon. I don't want it hurting my teeth when I crunch into it. That's no good. I want it to still have that fat glistening when I eat my bacon. That's how I enjoy it in the morning. Not a 7 or 8. Not when if you bump it wrong, it turns to dust. No thanks.
So coming up in just a little bit, Binkley's going to join us in studio. We'll ask him if he's interested in Mike Williams. It appears that Mike Williams is certainly going to be available. After the drop that Mike Williams had in the second half of that game, and then he fell on the final drive, the ball was intercepted. He was certainly part of the reason that the Jets lost. At that moment, Aaron Rodgers determined, I will never throw him a pass again. And Mike Williams, he is going to be playing for another team here in the next 10 days. I don't think he's going to be playing for another team this week. I mean, it's already Wednesday. They played on Monday. They haven't gotten a trade done. But next week, Mike Williams will be on another team in the National Football League. We had on Andy Vasquez, who covers the Jets. Here's what he said he thinks it would take to go get Mike Williams.
On what they can get for him in a trade, because it's been a pretty small sample size. He hasn't been able to get involved. I think it's clear at this point. You might have speculated about his injury or whatever coming off the ACL before this last game, but the fact that Rodgers called him out on that interception at the end of the game, and then backed it up again yesterday. It makes you think it wasn't the only issue that they've had. If you remember the final play of the Vikings loss, he threw an interception while trying to find Williams, and Williams never even turned around to look at the ball. He wasn't expecting it. And that's happened with a different receiver the week before in the final throw of the game. So, or twice on that final drive. So I think it's probably he didn't click with the offense. It didn't work. I mean, I think physically he's looked pretty good. He's made some big catches when he's gotten the opportunity. Doesn't have a drop problem or anything, and doesn't seem to be limited by his injury. So I think there's a chance that they could get a late round pick or something for him, because he is healthy, and they probably need to move the salary now after adding Adams and the potential of Reddick coming back.
You know what? I would actually be for Mike Williams. I don't think the Chiefs are going to be super interested in Mike Williams. If you look at his contract, his injury history, he doesn't have any tie to the Kansas City Chiefs. This just doesn't seem like the move that they would make. I think Mike Williams still has a little bit left in the tank. He's been okay this year. I just think it's obvious that he's just not in Rodgers' circle. I think we know enough about Aaron Rodgers that we can tell you who is in the huddle and who is out of the huddle. He clearly likes Allen Lazard. Like, he trusts Allen Lazard. Lazard is only on that team because of Aaron Rodgers. He liked Randall Cobb. Remember, that was a guy that they brought in from Green Bay. They got a relationship. Aaron trusts him. He is inside the circle. It took Garrett Wilson a couple of weeks. He got off to a little bit of a slow start, but now he looks like the receiver that I thought he could be with this team. Mike Williams, for whatever reason, was never in the huddle, was never a part of anything that they are doing. And this week on Monday Night Football, when he made those two mistakes, that is it. I gave you a chance in the Vikings game. You made me look silly. You made me look silly again. Aaron Rodgers then throws you under the bus, drives the bus, and then backs it up and then does it again. Mike Williams is done. I would be interested in Mike Williams on a late round pick swap. I just don't think that's the move that they're going to make. If they're going to make one of those kinds of moves, they're then going to get Demarcus Robinson. They're basically the same wide receiver, I think, at this point. I think Mike Williams has a little bit more of an upside than Demarcus Robinson has, but Robinson does know the system. He's been in this team. You know he fits the locker room and culture. The Chiefs just make, I don't want to say predictable moves. They make familiar moves. Juju was available. They went out and got him. McCole Hardman was available. They went out and got him. Demarcus Robinson, if you're going to trade for somebody, it is more likely they trade for Demarcus Robinson than they trade for Darius Slayton, in my opinion. Slayton has no tie to the Chiefs, no tie to the system. They are just going to go with something that they know if they're going to give up a late round pick. And Mike Williams might have a higher ceiling, but I would be a little bit surprised if that was the move. Now, if he gets released, I think that changes it a little bit, but I do think he's going to be on another team here coming up in the next 10 days. We'll get Binkley's thoughts on this coming up on the other side. We'll get to some of the top stories in football with Binkley as well. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5, The Fan. Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this. Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Traffic sponsored by Park and Go, your top choice for all covered airport parking. Stalled car northbound 35 at the on-ramp from 12th Street. That's stopping traffic. Still looking at the stalled car. Westbound 70 just past the Blue Ridge cutoff. That has moved off to the shoulder, but traffic's still slow around it. And a multi-car crash stopping traffic southbound 35 to Shoto Traffic Way. Tackle your airport parking needs at Park and Go. Always the best service, always the best price. Open 24/7. Fast and free shuttle services. All spots are covered. Reserve your spot today at bookparkandgo.com. Park and Go, family owned and operated. I'm Lori Pearson in 96.5 The Fan Traffic.
Order for Jennifer C.
Is this my double shot, double cream, double froth, double pump, double hot, double whip, double sleeve?
Yeah. Can you handle that much caffeine?
Hey, did you know Discover automatically doubles all the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year?
Well, I do now.
Seriously, did you know Discover automatically doubles all the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year?
Yeah, you just said that.
Did you say I just said that?
Yeah, I'm cutting you off.
Did you say you're cutting me off?
You earn We Match. Unlimited cashback match. See terms at discover.com/creditcard.
Mommy, want to play a game with me and Dad?
Mommy's not feeling good.
You need to vaporize that cold.
Vaporize?
Yeah, with DayQuil VapoCool. It's DayQuil plus a rush of Vicks vapors.
Whoa.
Come on, honey. Let's let Mommy rest.
You guys are amazing. And so is DayQuil VapoCool.
DayQuil VapoCool, the vaporizing daytime coughing, aching, fever, power through your day medicine. And to vaporize sore throat pain, try Vicks VapoCool drops. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Are you in need of top quality metal for your next project? Look no further than Metal by the Foot. Whether you're a DIY enthusiast, contractor, or business owner, Metal by the Foot has the perfect solution for you. Steel, aluminum, brass, and stainless. The Foot. Blue Demon Welding Supplies, filler rods, and wire. The Foot. Bronius Professional Welding Equipment, service and repairs. The Foot. Located in KC and Topeka. Online at metalbythefoot.com. When you need a piece of metal, remember, metal doesn't have to cost an arm or a leg, just the foot.
This report is brought to you by Flying H Drag Strip. Drag racing is back in Kansas City. FlyingHDragStrip.com. Kansas City Drag Racing is back. Join us for Hooktober at Flying H Drag Strip, October 25th and 26th, featuring pro mod cars, top dragsters, and quarter-mile drag racing. Plus, Night of Heroes, free entry for veterans with military ID. Get tickets now at FlyingHDragStrip.com. A real horsepower hangout.
The nightmare stories are all too common with home services companies. Shoddy workmanship, subpar materials, or everyone's favorite, getting halfway done with the job and taking a 2-month break. So, if you need to replace your windows, siding, or doors, you could spend hours online researching companies. Or you can start with the perfect company and call Thermo King. With over 25 years selling and installing energy-efficient windows, James Hardy siding, and the most beautiful entry doors available, Thermo King will make your home project hassle-free and easy. Their triple glass replacement windows will save you money on your energy bills. Their James Hardy siding will last decades. And their entry doors will make your guests say, "Holy cow!" Right now, you can save thousands on replacement windows, siding, or a new entryway door. Great financing plans are available to make paying for your project easy. Get the process started today. 888-KING-WIN or online at thermokingwindows.com.
Hey, Chiefs Kingdom, as the official whiskey sponsor of the NFL, it's not a kickoff without the generous spirit of Crown Royal. And that's why we've built the Crown Royal Rig, an absurdly awesome 18-wheeler delivering the generous spirit to stadiums and tailgates across the country. Follow the Royal Rig on its journey from city to city, bringing together local cuisine, NFL legends, and the opportunity to pack a purple bag for charity and win tickets to Super Bowl 59. Visit crownroyal.com for rules and more. Please drink responsibly.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. 120,000 miles of night drives, daily commutes, and who knows how many.
Are we there yet?
Through countless fixes, elbow grease, and a new radiator, you kept your ride alive. With eBay Motors, you have over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Right now at Wendy's, you can get a small Frosty for $1. And literally everyone is going. The car behind you, going to get a $1 Frosty. The car ahead of you, already had one, going for a second. The person who cut you off earlier, you guessed it, $1 Frosty. Maybe it's all a sign for you to go get one. Just don't cut anyone off. No one likes that person. The iconic Frosty for $1, gotta be Wendy's.
Limited time only at participating U.S. Wendy's. Not valid in a combo. Prices may be higher in Alaska, Hawaii, California, and via third-party delivery.
Chiefs coverage brought to you by Circa Resort and Casino when KC travels to Vegas. Calling all KC football fans to Vegas. Join us at Circa Resort and Casino this October as we huddle up at Overhang Bar, catching some of the game day action at the world's largest sportsbook or lounge at Stadium Swim. Book your experience today. Visit circalasvegas.com.
You're listening to the all-new 96.5 The Fan, your home for Kansas City sports. KFNZ FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station.
We got Binkley here. Binkley, before we start to get to very serious football things, I want to ask you a question. I also want to tell everybody congratulations on getting through your 9 to 5. Have you ever put butter on a Pop-Tart before?
Negative.
Because Rob was telling us that's what he does. The text line also co-signed this felonious behavior, 913-586-7965.
I
And they
would
were
even
saying,
dream of doing that.
You got to try it. You got to try it.
Yeah.
I just didn't understand that you grab the Pop-Tart, which the Pop-Tart's perfectly fine on its own.
Yeah.
You then grab the butter, you grab a knife, and then you spray it. It didn't make a whole lot of sense.
Does he toast it? Rob, do you toast it before?
No, cold.
Just straight up? Remember the Pop-Tart Bowl? It was supposed to have
No,
the
I
edible
do.
mascot, everything they had. Kansas
do.
State, man. Pop-Tart Bowl champions.
You know how crazy it is to put butter on a cold Pop-Tart and eat it?
Yeah.
You got to really be going through some things.
Yeah.
Like, you got to be going through some things like your favorite college football team has lost 5 consecutive weeks. Like, that's the kind of stuff that you got to be going through. That's a dark place, I would assume, that you're in. That's rock bottom is what it is.
Yeah, some people have some weird things. Like I like ketchup on things, but a lot of people don't. Mayonnaise on hot dogs and Will Levis and all that weird stuff he does. I mean, there's some weird stuff.
I've seen him play quarterback, and nothing you would tell me is surprising
Which is
about
funny
Will
because
Levis.
Chris Onocero and I, in character concerns, hashed on and laughed about Will Levis the whole show we did almost every week about some team's going to be suckered into this. And, there's a couple guys in Kansas City throwing this out there, and here's the Tennessee Titans went ahead and went for it. And he packed up his bags and went home from Kansas City before he's drafted, remember?
Someone on the text line says that they melt butter and then they dip the Pop-Tart into it. You know what?
That's even worse.
Let's move on to the hits. I don't want to talk about this anymore. It's upset me enough. I don't like knowing some of the weird things that you guys do. The show doesn't. We don't need to be on that kind of a level with everybody that you are telling me that you dip the Pop-Tart in the butter like it's a wing and it's ranch dressing. No, I don't want to know that about anybody.
It's 5 o'clock, and your wife has tuna casserole ready for you at home. Might as well get caught up on the biggest stories of the day in Kansas City with C-Dot and Rob. This is The Hits. Number 1.
All right, boys, before we get to the hits and beer number 1 for Beers with Bink, I want you guys to know that the hits are brought to you by Baker University, where graduates earn higher salaries and land jobs faster than any other university in Kansas. Apply today at bakeru.edu. Bink, it's been a wide receiver palooza on the drive in the last 2 days. Let's start with the trade that wasn't made for the Chiefs. Are you surprised now seeing what Amari Cooper cost to send to Buffalo? The Chiefs weren't in on that.
I would have been 100% in on Amari Cooper because he's a very cerebral football player, too. He was the one that counted the 12 men in the huddle when Deshaun Watson goes walking off. They go, where's he going? Because Amari Cooper said, hey, dude, we got 12 men in the huddle. Call the timeout. I like that about him. He comes from, Alabama. He's been a good pro. And I would have taken Amari Cooper in a heartbeat. They should have paid that. I will say this, though. I had a conversation with Danon last Friday on our Friday football show. He was out there. And I said, what would you do, Danon? You're a former wide receiver. You know the Chiefs inside and out as a color analyst. What would you do? And he made an interesting point. Not that he was against Amari Cooper. He might have done it. But he was just asking me, weigh it. The guys that have been here. The guys that know the chemistry of the system. Because it's going to take a while to get up to speed. How well do you know Patrick Mahomes? And you got to look at guys like Nico Remigio, Justin Ross. You got to say you got to outweigh the good and the bad. I'm 100% team receiver. I want him to draft them even more this year. I want 2 receivers in this year's draft. I would have been for it, but I understand the argument of the familiarity, which Andy Reid, he echoed that sentiment when he had his press conference on Monday about the familiarity is very important.
Let's get this first beer out of the way, man. I'm excited to try it. What is it?
All right, the first beer, boys, it will be on Carrington's left, Bink's right. This is from KC Beer Co., a local beer. This is their Never Say IPA, which is, as you say, an IPA.
I knew it would be. See, you like these choices, though. You told me you did.
I don't even need to have any more of this to know that Rob is giving this an 8.6. I just know we've done this enough. I know the kind of beers that Rob likes. All right. I have my score. Go ahead.
All right. You mean give me the score?
Yeah. What do you think?
I think it's actually a really good, smooth IPA. I think people that are just getting into IPAs would actually enjoy this. Because usually you don't think they're highly crushable being an IPA. This one I could see actually, so they're putting down 3 or 4 or 5 of them. I'd give it, being honest, I'd give it a 6.5.
I actually really liked this IPA, which is surprising. I'm not really an IPA individual. I actually would probably give it around what you gave it. I'd give it a 6.5, but This is something I would drink the entire can, and there's a lot of IPAs that you've offered that I would not drink the whole can. I would finish this, and I would quite possibly ask for another one. This was tasty. This is one of the better IPAs we've had on the show.
Agreed. Shout out Casey Beer Co. I was told, I'm like, hey, I'm looking for an IPA that's not very IPA-ish. And the liquor store was like, we got you. Don't worry.
No, they had us. No, they did. Great. I don't know who made that suggestion, but salute to them.
Number 2.
Well, Bink, as I mentioned, it's been a wide receiver palooza on the drive, which has people all hot and bothered yelling out names about who should or shouldn't be on the Kansas City Chiefs at the trade deadline. A popular name, Mike Williams of the New York Jets. Bink, would you like to see the former Charger back with the AFC West on the Kansas City Chiefs?
I always respected Mike Williams for his ability, especially when he played the Chiefs. But you look at his career since 17, just 2 1,000-yard years, and one of them was barely 1,001. I understand that Keenan Allen was on the other side, taking a lot of the coverage off of Mike Williams. I wouldn't do this, though. You're coming off that ACL, that scares me. The Chiefs need dependability. That's what they need. They need dependability and stability. They're trying to push all in. This is not about a long run for the Chiefs. It's about, can we go out and can we be the first team to three-peat? I wouldn't do it with Mike Williams. First of all, I'm shocked that he doesn't work out with Aaron Rodgers. Why the hell would you go to the Jets if you don't get along with Aaron Rodgers, right? And despite Aaron Rodgers throwing him under the bus, he did run the wrong route. Like, that's what Mike Williams did. I don't necessarily want a guy like that, but here's the deal. Why'd you choose to go there? That you could have gone anywhere else in the NFL, but you went to be with Aaron Rodgers.
I mean, sometimes you don't know until you actually go and experience it for yourself.
Well, I
certainly get why you would go sign with the Jets, and it just didn't work out.
You'll hang out with him in that cave.
Yeah, didn't work out last year for McCole Hardman. It didn't work out this year with Mike Williams. I do like him. I would like if the Chiefs made a move. I just don't think that he is going to be in line with what they do. I think they either take a decent swing or they go familiar. I could see them going to get Deontay Johnson, and they look at him as being a multiple-year option, or they're going to go with what they know. They're going to pick up MVS. They're going to go get Demarcus Robinson from the Los Angeles Rams, and then that's going to be their answer. Mike Williams has no tie to Kansas City, doesn't know the system, and that's going to be their move that they make. I just find that a little bit hard to believe, and it goes against what they usually do.
The only thing he's got going for him is the fact that he played the Chiefs twice a year.
That's
so
it.
He at least knows that team. And the fact that the Chargers didn't move on from him when their receiver starved. That's a receiver-starved organization, but yet they weren't real throwing contract numbers out there at Mike Williams. That should tell you a little something.
You think they got a chance at Darius Slayton?
That would be the one I think that has the less knocks on him than anybody. I think there's a kind of a wart on all those different receivers.
Yep.
I think Darius Slayton would be the less warts on him.
All right, boys. Beer number 2 is a Lagunitas beer. It's a crisp session IPA. Carrington will get ahead of it. I asked the liquor store about this one. They said light and easy, crisp drinking IPA, similar to a wheat from Lagunitas.
Okay, sounds good. That's my kind of
wheat and sweet.
My kind of time. I actually like the first one more than this, which is a little bit surprising given the description that you
This
gave.
appears to be one of those, like, ones they try to sell a lot because it's low ABV, low calories.
Very low ABV, low cal.
It's 4%, which, there's a lot of domestics that are 4%, but the 3 carbs, the 98 calories, this is completely that market. Someone looking for the low cal, highly crushable beer. It's actually halfway decent. This is pretty smooth. This is what you drink in the summertime. 100%. This is a summertime beer.
Yeah, I like this one. I actually like the fact that the first one, the Never Say IPA, had a little bit more bite to it than this one did. I'm going to give this one a 6.1. I'm going to rank it a little bit behind the Never Say IPA. I did like it, but I thought the other one had a little bit better flavor. I thought they tasted pretty comparable, so I'm going to score it a little bit less.
Yeah,
Number 3.
6 flat on it.
Rob, what was your score?
I like the actual first one better because it's more IPA-ish. That one's more in the 5s for me, like 5.2.
It's very highly crushable, though.
It's a little more summery than I imagined, but, it is that, if it's a hot day at a tailgate, which there might be some hot days still, you'd be fine with that.
That's a good tailgating beer.
Mm-hmm. All right, boys. Earlier today, we had the C-Dot segment, which today was Corner Dot, as always, where Carrington announced that he may have been wrong about the Chiefs' cornerback room. Bink, looking early at the play from Jalen Watson, Joshua Williams, Najee Johnson, Trent McDuffie, Are you surprised that that group has come together so well the same way Carrington was, or do you still think there's room for improvement?
Well, there's always going to be room for improvement, but I'm not shocked at it at all. When you have some of the best coaching them, Steve Spagnuolo, he comes from that background. There's a reason why these guys are drafted by the Chiefs. Like he does look at a lot of these prospects when it comes to defensive prospects. No doubt about it. And these guys have all that experience. It's not like typical guys that come in here. Think about this. They've gone all the way to the wire into the Super Bowl with this team, and they've got all these competent guys around them. They're going against Patrick Mahomes every day in practice, but it doesn't surprise me at all because there's a rhyme or reason that they draft all these guys. Just like Shamari Connor has been playing a lot of nickel and will play safety as well. There's a reason they drafted that guy.
Rob, can you fade the music down a little bit, please? I want to apologize to each and every one of you. I want to apologize that we spent any time this summer, any time this offseason with any amount of worry for their cornerback room. You guys told me not to be worried about it. Now, this is where I will push back and I will defend myself a little bit. You guys spent most of the offseason telling me that Snead was a top 5 corner in the league, yet also told me you weren't worried that they lost a top 5 corner in the league. And those two things they don't add up to me. It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me how both things can be true. It's a little confusing, a little puzzling. But you guys said Jalen Watson or Joshua Williams was going to step in and do the job, and they have stepped in and done the job, and the Chiefs continue to be one of the 3 best defenses in the league. So I want to apologize. I want to tell you that I was wrong. That's it. That's all I have.
All right, boys. Beer number 3 is called Juicy East. This is from Crooked Stay, which is a Colorado brewery. This is a New England IPA. My goal was to get Carrington to like IPAs, as I've heard Bing say this before, and I feel this way. The New England is the one that you dip your toe in the water and you walk out an IPA person.
You grab those training wheels, put them on your bike there, and you ride those training wheels at first. Just get you in the IPA. But that first one would really toes in the water for IPA.
Okay, all right. Crooked Stave. Let me take one more little sip here.
I think the KC Beer Co. is a lot more crisp than that. That IPA was crisp. That one has a little more bite, once you had it, and being the taste buds.
What's your score on that one?
I'm going to go 5.6.
Rob, where are you at?
6.1. It's good. It's not my favorite IPA, but again, it's this is the kiddie pool IPA. You'll eventually jump in the deep water.
Yeah, this was my least favorite one that we've had so far. I'd probably put this at a 5.8 is probably where I would score it. I agree with everything you said, Bink, about the difference in the first IPA, the Never Say IPA, and what we just had from Crooked Stave. The one from KC Beer Company, it's a better beer. It's better. I like it.
I mean, for people that, you don't have many choices, you say, what do you want for beer? But all I got is IPA. You give them that one. Because that's the one that would, bring them right over. Yeah.
No, you're right.
It's the one you serve.
Number 4.
As we pivot to this weekend's game, Bink, a conversation Carrington had when he was on the air with 95.7 The Game in the Bay Area. They said, hey, this weekend for Niners fans is like their Super Bowl. The Niners have not been able to overcome the Chiefs. Multiple Super Bowls. And you'll remember a couple years ago when they traded for McCaffrey, the Chiefs went out there and just beat the brakes off the Niners. Bink, you have a good pulse of Chiefs fans. Do you feel Chiefs fans think the same way, and the Niners game this weekend is their Super Bowl, or is it just ho-hum another Sunday in the league?
I don't think they care. I think they're too busy battling Bengals fans online. That's really the team that they're most concerned about. I don't think they care about Frisco. I was watching something with George Kittle and Deebo Samuel. They were doing a show together, and I don't know if that was part of receivers or what, but they were sitting there talking. They were talking about the Chiefs and talking about how much they respected him. They talked about Mahomes, being the dude, and both Deebo and George Kittle very complimentary over the Chiefs. It's in their heads, man. Just like Kansas City dances on the Buffalo Bills' heads, how they keep thinking about 13 seconds and they keep bringing it up. San Francisco's not that big of a deal. I agree with you. A couple years ago when they pasted him, when McCaffrey got there, he was already traded for him. Kansas City went out there and had their most impressive win of the year when they went out to the Bay Area a couple years ago. But to me, that defense has not been the same without DeMeco Ryans down in Houston. But it's still a formidable team that they're going to play. It's a well-coached team. By the way, they have the number 2 offense in the National Football League. They're not lower than 3 in pass or run. They can do a lot of different things. I don't think it's a big deal for Chiefs fans at all.
Yeah, I don't think this is one of their 5 most important games, at least from like a fan buzz perspective. Someone on the text line said this earlier, and I think it's a good point. just with what the Chiefs are competing for, I don't know if an NFC team can be their rival. The NFC team's not going to stop you from having home field. They're not going to stop you from being in the Super Bowl. They can stop you from winning it. Not going to stop you from being in the Super Bowl. So I think it's just really difficult for an NFC team to kind of have that effect on you. You know, when the Patriots were the team, the Steelers were a big rivalry for them. Makes sense. AFC team. The Colts were a big team. The Broncos developed into that team with Peyton Manning. They never really had that rival against an NFC team, and again, it makes sense. So
it's a big deal for them because they're trying to get over that hump. But you think they've already played Baltimore, Cincinnati. Those are bigger games. They got Buffalo still on the schedule. And then the Chargers game. I mean, you think about these teams, these up-and-coming teams, so many games much more important than the 49ers one.
For sure.
All right, boys, our fourth beer. We begin to make the pivot toward heavy fall, as this is American Solera's. This is their Marzen Lager, which is a German-style beer.
This is your kind of time.
This is right in October.
This is your kind of time, is it not?
You know, we'll be honest with you, Rob. This hot weather that we've had this month, I know it's cooled down, and today was great. I love this kind of weather. But being hot, 90 degrees like it was last weekend, I got Oktoberfest to drink, man. I can't be drinking that stuff and sweating.
Nope. Nope.
Nice job on this one, Rob.
That's the stuff, baby.
Great job on that one.
Oh, yeah. Chocolatey, malty,
I can taste the malt, a little bit of caramel mixed in there.
Nope.
I can taste it all. It's made down in Tulsa. Man, this is good stuff, Rob. Nice work. Nice work.
I feel like this is a 2000 MTV show. Next! No, can't do it. No, not doing it.
Oh, it's scoring?
4.8.
7.9.
It's definitely in the 7.5. I wouldn't do it when it's 75 out, but if it's 59 and I'm at a fire pit,
this fire pit.
Fire pit's going
beer.
crazy. Yeah, it's going crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness.
You can't even have a fire. It's been so hot.
It's getting serious. No, it's getting cold now. It's cold.
Today was perfect, man. This was like called perfect weather.
You know, that's what
This
they
morning
said.
was
It was
great.
not perfect. Anytime I can see my breath, it ain't perfect weather outside.
I test if I sweating or not. Okay, I'm shorts all the time. Whether I put the sweatshirt on or not, that's debatable.
Well, it's fair.
Me and Scott Parks, man, we roll in here in our shorts in freezing weather.
I've never seen Parks wear long pants before. Not
I
once.
have before. I've seen like
I've
once.
known Parks for a decade. I've never seen him wear pants before.
that Friday before the Dolphins game, he was like, on the fence.
I had pants on that week.
He still had sandals on.
Oh, he's on sandals. All right, boys, we open the show with this today. When we look back at the 2022 offseason, everyone was hot and bothered to beat the Kansas City Chiefs. The Raiders added Adams, added Chandler Jones, signed Josh McDaniels, extended Crosby, extended Carr. The Broncos made the worst trade in NFL history, maybe, with Russell Wilson, gave him the deal. Randy Gregory, Nathaniel Hackett. The Chargers went all in with Khalil Mack, J.C. Jackson. It was the offseason of here comes the AFC West. It was also the offseason the Chiefs traded away Tyreek Hill. Looking back at it now, Bink, with the advantage of hindsight, boy, oh boy, was there a flop for the rest of the AFC West.
And it's kind of funny. I think they'll be at 30 for 30 someday on how much the Chiefs mess with people's heads. Because they are. They're changing the game of football. We've already seen them doing it positionally, like with the Honey Badger and what he was doing in Jones. But they're changing things with how teams tried to stop the Chiefs. I mean, the Chargers did their best. This is Reboot 2.0, by the way. We're now on Reboot 2.0 with Sean Payton in Denver, with Jim Harbaugh with the Chargers, and the Raiders about to go through it. Who knows where Tom Brady's going that direction. This is Reboot 2.0. 1.0 didn't work. They're doing 2.0 now.
Mahomes has as many Super Bowls as the Raiders have had coaches. Since
I remember asking our late great friend Terez Paylor, I said, what would you do to stop the Chiefs in the draft? And he's like, as defensive backs, do you load up on those or edges? And Terez is like, no. You got to find that quarterback, man. You got to find that dude. And he's right, because look at the NFL throwing all this money at Trevor Lawrence and Dak Prescott. I watched these guys get their butts kicked every primetime game, even Josh Allen a few weeks ago. Mahomes has 4 games where he's lost by more than 1 score. That's insane. But I see it happening all the time. They have ruined the quarterback market. The Chiefs have screwed with so many different teams, their fan bases, and their front offices.
What's next?
By the way, all right, Carrington, beer number 5 is basically for you. This is Austin East Ciders. This is their super dry apple brute cider.
Oh, my goodness.
That's what I love. Thank you. Thank you, Rob. I appreciate you. You finally looked out. You didn't look out for them first couple drinks. You finally looked out. This is my kind of time.
I'm going to get text about this. Wish I had my dog here. lick my dog's butt to get taste out of my mouth. That's terrible.
It's like,
that was nuts what you
wild.
just said. That was crazy. I got to throw a challenge flag on that one.
Ron White used to say that. He's a comedian. He goes,
Too many men on the field.
He goes, my wife's cooking was so bad I used to,
that was
the dog would lick his own butt to get the taste off his mouth, is what he said.
that was flagrant. That was out of bounds.
It was bad.
That's what it was.
I was trying to be descriptive about it.
No, you were
definitely going to the monitor in college basketball. We got to look at that one again.
Yeah. That's a technical foul, 2 shots and the ball. Goodness gracious.
It was just truth.
I actually was not a huge fan of this. I don't want a dry cider. I want a sweet cider. That didn't have nearly enough. It didn't have enough apple to me. It needed a little bit more apple than I got there. That one was just fine. I'm going to give that one a 5.4. I think it was just okay. That is not something that I would bring to the function.
I would be embarrassed. I wouldn't want my friends seeing me drink this. I'd probably try to cover up the label or some report in a glass. Say, I just drinking a brew, man. I'm throwing down a brew. 2.7.
Wow, 2.7? Come on now.
Did I not tell you what I would do?
That wasn't a 2.7.
This is almost as bad as when you brought in those Sonic seltzers.
Yeah.
That tasted like Hawaiian Tropic.
I might bring them back next week.
That's embarrassment. I love Sonic too, man.
I'm about to sound like a booze hound. You know what that would go good with? Put a little fireball on that boy. Okay. Have a little Saturday morning. Have yourself a little time. Get ready for college game day on a crispy Saturday morning. That would make it better. That would make it great. A little apple, but on its own, it's like a 4.8. It's not great.
Okay. Yeah.
We got one more left. Which one is this that we have left?
The final one is from Mother's Brewing, which I believe, Bink, Left Hand Brewing.
We don't even need the question here. Let's just go ahead and drink this. Let's get it out of the way.
What you were going to say is Mother's Brewing's my favorite.
Mother's Brewing's your favorite. Yeah, but this is Left Hand Brewing Company, so I apologize.
Left hand up. Who are we?
Commanders. This is the Pumpkin Spice Latte Nitro. It is a pumpkin ale with spices and coffee added into it.
You just gave me a Camry instead of a Ferrari.
Peak fall.
Oh, man, you can smell the spices. I'm not a pumpkin spice anything.
This smells like a Bath and Body Works
candle.
Like I
feel dirty drinking this. It does smell like Bath and Body Works, doesn't it? It smells like it should be a candle.
Oh, my goodness. That's terrible. I don't want to have any more of that.
I don't really like anything about pumpkins.
0.0. That's what that is. That's a 0.0.
I could not even finish. I
take one more sip just to confirm.
It was like drinking a candle.
That was bad. That's really.
Or licking one of those Yankee candles, which I've never done.
I'd rather have medicine than drink that again. That's bad.
I'd rather have more stouty.
Medicine's actually better than that.
It's a little too pumpkin-y. But
I'd rather take shots of Dime Tap or Benadryl than have that. That was bad.
I like that you did it though. You went good variety here, 100% good variety. But the pumpkin, because I'm not a big pumpkin fan. Some people like this stuff. Some people love pumpkin. I'm glad you made me try it because I normally would have never tried this.
That's bad.
Schlafly's Pumpkin Ale, which I did not get, is my favorite pumpkin beer. It's not like this, so I was like, let's try something new. It's a little too creamy in a weird way for me. I wish it was more beerish and not latte-ish.
You know, I went to one time I was at the Schlafly Brewery. I went to the brewery and they had an oyster beer. I was like, this tasted real. I was like, whoa, this is terrible.
I don't even know where to go after you've had a rough last 4 minutes here. You know what, man? I gotta again blow the whistle. We need a sounder here to blow the whistle when people just do flagrant egregious things. We need a whistle on this show. That's what we need. We need a whistle, and we got to throw a challenge flag. All right, coming up on the side, I want to get more of your thoughts about the Devontae Adams trade, also the Amari Cooper trade. Also, let's talk some college football. We're about halfway done with the college football season, and I think we are starting to realize who is out of the playoff picture. There's still about 30 teams that are in the playoff picture. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5, The Fan, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel on America's #1 sportsbook app, because right now new customers can bet $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. It's Thursday Night Football, so it's time to make our parlays. I'm going to take the Saints at home in this game. I'm also going to take the over on Alvin Kamara rushing yards. I'm also going to take him to score an anytime touchdown. Yes, I'm high on the Saints for this matchup. You can be too. Build your own same game parlay. Use one of the pre-built models, or just take an anytime touchdown if you're feeling that way. You can do so on FanDuel.com/CDOT to make every moment more this season. FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL, and also 96.5 The Fan. 21 and present in Kansas. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issue is non-withdrawable bonus pass, which expires 7 days after restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Can help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700. Visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
Kansas City loves ribs. Smoky, savory, sweet, fall-off-the-bone ribs for just $15 or 2 for $25. You can grab a full slab of baby back ribs at Hy-Vee every Saturday and Sunday. Perfect for your tailgate or watch party. Add baked beans, potato salad, and coleslaw, then kick back and leave the cooking to us. Hy-Vee has your back with a full slab of ribs for just $15 or 2 for $25 every Saturday and Sunday, only at Hy-Vee. Limited time offer while supplies last.
I love watching the Chiefs score points. Now I have even more reason to cheer on the Chiefs. I just head to Hy-Vee the day after any game and score savings at the pump with my Hy-Vee Perks card. Win or lose, I earn a fuel saver discount equal to the Chiefs score based on the amount I spend. If the Chiefs score 42 points, I save 42 cents a gallon when I spend $42. The more we score, the more I save. Only at Hy-Vee. Offer good in-store and online. Some restrictions apply. See store for details.
Many of us are looking forward to retirement. But when it's time to tap into your savings, do you know how long your money will last? Make a game plan for your retirement income distribution from UMB Private Wealth. They'll create a custom strategy for you to help make your hard-earned retirement savings last. Just go to umb.com/private wealth to schedule your personal appointment. That's umb.com/private wealth.
We've had more than our fair share of hail and wind this year. Are you playing Roofer Roulette? That's when you bet your roof and your home on the first random roofer to ring your doorbell. Why do that when JR & Company offers a free hail and wind report online at jrstormcheck.com? Just plug in your address and we'll pull a multi-year storm report. You'll know exactly what your roof has been put through and if you even need an inspection. If you do, no one is more thorough and works better with your insurance than locally owned, veteran-owned JR & Company. And if you need a new roof, remember, a roof from JR comes with a lifetime warranty on workmanship. Don't play Roofer Roulette with your home. Visit jrstormcheck.com and remember, you're always better with a roof from JR. Visit jrstormcheck.com.
This is a special report from the Missouri Lottery. Please do not attempt to put giant checks in the bank's pneumatic tubes. You will be provided with a bank-compatible check or just cash. The Missouri Lottery. Play responsibly.
You could be on the 50 at GEHA Field for the official coin toss at a Chiefs home game this season. Enter to win at Chiefs.com/GEHA. GEHA is the proud partner of the Kansas City Chiefs.
In business, success is never by chance. You know that better than anyone. So why settle for a marketing agency that gambles with your money? At Scale Marketing, we've been in your shoes. Our founders successfully owned and operated businesses long before becoming marketers. They understand the business of, well, business. We specialize in performance marketing for mid-sized B2C companies with teams of over 100 people, from traditional and digital marketing to media buying, data science, and creative production. Scale Marketing manages it all. Our tailored strategies drive measurable growth, turning your challenges into opportunities. Imagine your company leading the market, not just participating in it. That's what we do at Scale Marketing. Don't let your business growth plateau or underperform. Scale Marketing will pinpoint exactly what you need to focus on, ensuring your success isn't left to chance. Take your business to the next level with Scale Marketing. Visit scalemarketing.com today. That's scalemarketing.com.
When you buy a new house, you might say,
"Shut the front door."
Winning!
No, seriously, shut the front door. We own this house now.
But you actually need to say,
"Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there."
That's right. The local State Farm agent is there to help you choose the coverage you need.
Welcome to my crib. No one says that anymore, but I don't care.
So just remember, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
State Farm, Bloomington, Illinois.
Join 96.5 The Fan and Bud Light for the Fans Football Show with Mitchell Schwartz or Sean Barber and Jay Binkley every Friday this football season starting at 6 at participating Buffalo Wild Wings locations. Enjoy $5 talls, prizes, and Chiefs gear. For a list of locations, go to 965thefan.com. Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
This traffic is brought to you by Streetcar Takeover this Friday and Saturday. Tickets at streetcar-takeover.com. Crash south of the Triangle, southbound 49, just past Red Bridge Road. This is closing the left lane. Got a stalled car blocking the right lane, still causing a lot of slowdowns at that 435 and 70 exchange. The car is at eastbound 70 and northbound 435. Get your tickets now for a weekend of horsepower, burnouts, car show, music, and adrenaline-fueled excitement at Streetcar Takeover this Friday and Saturday at the Flying H Drag Strip in Odessa. Kids 12 and under are free, plus trunk or treat Saturday for the kids, online at streetcar-takeover.com. I'm Lori Pearson for 96.5 The Fan Traffic.
Chiefs fans, it's Trey Smith. Welcome to The Drive with C-Dot on your home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan.
Binkley is here. Binkley, we appreciate you. Let's get your thoughts on the Davante Adams trade. I think there were only two teams that he was ultimately going to land with. He was either going to go play with Aaron Rodgers in New York, or he was going to go play with Derek Carr in New Orleans. I didn't really see too many other options. Maybe Pittsburgh would have been a possible because they were so in on Brandon Ayuk, but I think getting Brandon Ayuk is a little different than getting Davante Adams, age, contract, all of those things. I think it was certainly a lot different, so I understand why maybe Pittsburgh wasn't in on him the way that they were in on Brandon Ayuk. I like the move for the Jets. I just question if it fixes what their problem is. Their problem is not they don't have enough skill position guys on the outside. Their problem is they can't block. They can't run the football consistently because of their offensive line, and they can't protect their quarterback. I don't think a new wide receiver helps that, but if you were in the business of being all in, you're also in the Aaron Rodgers business of keeping him happy, you had to go get Davante Adams.
Yeah, I like that team in the makeup, but I really like the guy they drafted in the fourth round, Braylon Allen.
I like him too.
But they can't block. I mean, that's the number one thing with the Jets, and any mock that you see going this year, it's the Jets going offensive line. They just have to be able to do it and have to block. I understand what they're doing. It's a little weird that they did it right after, losing to the Bills like that. You go to 2-4, and you play at Pittsburgh this week. I mean, you could be looking at 2-5, although the rest of their schedule kind of favorable going forward. But I do appreciate it, though, because I think Woody Johnson just pushed all in. He realizes here's the deal. The quarterback market's not great. Right now, people are overpaying for their quarterback. They brought in Aaron Rodgers. Who knows how long he's going to play, if he's going to play much longer at all past this. He was missed the whole year last year when you brought him in. You brought in all these other pieces to kind of fit around Aaron Rodgers. But I understand why they did it. And I think it's a good move for the Jets because they pushed all in. I mean, literally, Woody Johnson said, hey, I want to win. I'm a fan of this team. I want to win. Anybody that's a fan of a team wants their owner to want to win. And I do think that Woody Johnson understands the window. He's an owner that understands what the window is.
Let's get to the Amari Cooper trade that Buffalo made. I think there were two teams that made the most sense to go get him. It's funny because Kansas City and Buffalo are kind of in the same situation with the weapons that they have. They drafted Keon Coleman. The Chiefs drafted Xavier Worthy. They got some other options, but you don't necessarily think you have that guy. So I thought Amari Cooper made a lot of sense in Kansas City. I think he makes a lot of sense in Buffalo. I think this is a very smart move for Buffalo. I think today Buffalo is probably playing a little bit better than Kansas City. And I know that sounds funny just given the fact that one team is undefeated and the other team isn't. But, I mean, we've seen so many regular seasons where Buffalo looks the part but necessarily doesn't feel that way at the end of the season. This feels like Buffalo. I do wonder how many swings they're going to have with this group before they kind of have to tear it down a little bit. They're not rebuilding, but they certainly are retooling on the fly. I think this team is a little bit better equipped. I think they run the football effectively, and not just with James Cook. I think they do so with Ty Johnson. I think they also can run the football very effectively with Ray Davis. I think this is one of the better, more well-rounded Buffalo Bills teams we've seen over the course of this run.
Statistically, it isn't, but I love Ray Davis that they picked up in the draft. I mean, it's a great back to have there. He's in for over 1,000 yards with two different teams in college. I like that. The fit for Amari Cooper made sense because Buffalo was like Kansas City. You knew they were going wide receiver, especially when you looked at the draft. That's where they're going. Now, I think they made a mistake on Keon Coleman. I really do. I think they made a mistake by trading the Kansas City Chiefs, to be honest with you. But they knew exactly what the Chiefs wanted. And maybe all the smoke screens were there. It looked like, oh, the Chiefs are going to go out and get Amari Cooper. They didn't want to get schooled by the Chiefs once again. I think a little bit that was fear factor because, boom, that went down fast. It's like, oh, no, let's jump in and get Amari Cooper for the Chiefs do. But Chiefs didn't, I don't think, had much interest in Amari Cooper. I did, certainly talking about it, but maybe Buffalo sensed that we better grab him before Kansas City did, so a little gamesmanship there because they're tired of losing to Kansas City in every single draft day trade and everything else.
I still don't know why, and I would love for Brett Veach to be made available. I don't understand what it was about the fit with Amari Cooper that they passed on.
Yeah,
some people were saying yesterday was, oh, well, the teams don't want to trade with Kansas City. I mean, Kansas City has better assets than Buffalo does, and clearly Cleveland wasn't worried about trading him in the AFC. Like
Buffalo just did it in the draft, and I was shocked when that trade came down.
Like Pittsburgh was not trading Deontay Johnson in the AFC. They weren't trading him to Kansas City. They weren't trading him to Buffalo.
Chiefs.
Yeah, they were not going to make that move. I don't think that was a barrier for Cleveland. I just don't think the Chiefs are very interested in Amari Cooper.
Yeah, I don't think they were either, but I don't think Buffalo knew that. They probably thought, hey, the Chiefs, because he was always linked to either Buffalo or Kansas City. There's just kind of the two places that were linked, but it takes a long time to sync up with the receivers and the quarterback and everything else. So we'll see how it plays out with the Buffalo Bills. But definitely Josh Allen is playing out of his mind. But I will say this, a couple missed field goals by Greg Zuerlein, that drop pass there by Mike Williams at the end, and all of a sudden the Buffalo Bills have a 3-game losing streak on their hands.
I was wrong about one thing, I guess two things in college football. I was wrong that I thought expansion was going to kill the regular season. It has not killed the regular season in college football. I also was wrong about, I think I was so caught up on, well, there's not more teams that can win the championship, so how is this good? They're just repurposing the bowls. I think it has gave meaning to different teams where if you're K-State, man, you still got to, like, in the Big 12, there's 7 teams that still have a legitimate shot of making the college football playoff. Texas Tech still got a shot. BYU's got a shot. K-State's got a shot.
Iowa State.
So sure, maybe K-State can't win the national championship. Man, being included in the 12-team playoff is so hard to do that I think I was just off on what the 12-team playoff meant for college football. And I've really enjoyed this college football season. And, man, this week, like we talked a lot about last week and how strong it was. This week is almost just as good as last week's if you think about the matchups that we have.
Yeah, last week was ridiculous and how good that game. Ohio State was the most watched game in college football last week. Incredible ratings that it got. But, yeah, I mean, you go back to this. If you don't win your conference, which obviously Oregon could meet Ohio State in the Big Ten title game, but there's no guarantee on that. And unless you win it, you go back to these games. All right, who won when Oregon played, Ohio State? And you debate these things, and these things will be debated going forward. I think college football, the interest in it, you've never seen it as high as it is right now. People talking about college football and watching it and the storylines. But it's fun to watch, and the Big 12 has been a ton of fun. I thought there'd be a ton of parity. I still think there won't be an undefeated team in the Big 12. You're looking at BYU still undefeated and Iowa State. Iowa State. And
I really like BYU. I'm a big BYU believer.
BYU has been playing that thumping they put on Kansas State. That really stood out when Kansas State headed west a couple weeks ago. And I'll tell you this much, too. Colorado, that's not an easy out for teams anymore. That team is much improved. And you know what? They gave K-State all they could handle, and that's without Jimmy Horn, and that was without Travis Hunter, who both left in the first half of that game. And Travis Hunter's the best player in college football. Didn't have any of them. Had minus 29 yards rushing. I don't think I've ever seen that in a box score, but they damn near won.
Binkley, man, I appreciate you, man. Thanks a lot for
I appreciate you.
talking. You want to do a little random question time?
Yeah, we can do
Let's do a little random question time. My bad. So we'll take a break here. We'll come back. My bad, Binkley. I know you got your show coming up. I was trying to get you out of here.
I'm good tonight.
But you know what, man?
It's Alex Gold next.
Oh, it's Alex Gold
and then
next.
it's Mac and Drew.
Oh, okay. All right. You know what? Let's do a little random question time. Let's do random question time with Jay Binkley. Keep right here. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison. On your new home for Royals baseball, 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Hey, it's Carrington Harrison from The Drive here. Let me tell you about my friends over at Gates Barbecue with 5 locations around town. You are never too far away from that classic barbecue taste. And let me tell you, Gates Barbecue, they're switching the menu up a little bit. Coming to all 5 locations, they are having the Burnt E-Mac. So with some incredible mac and cheese, they sprinkle a little Gates burn in on the top. It's delicious. They also have the Gates Chicken Link. They put that on a little hoagie bun. I have yet to try that, but the next time I go in there, I got to make sure that I get a taste of that Gates Chicken Link. So it doesn't matter if you're stopping by any one of the area locations to try out some of the new things on the menu, or you're going back to get some of the classics, some of the staples. You're getting the beef on bun. You're getting the presidential platter. You're getting the ribs. Whatever it is, you know the Gates has you on that. Or the next time you go by the grocery store, make sure you get some of the seasoning. Make sure you get some of the sauce as well to go with your grilling, or whether you're making some food for yourself at home. So remember, stop by any one of the 5 area locations. Check out the Burnt E-Mac. Check out the Gates Chicken Link. And they also have the chicken wings over at the one on the 103rd and State line. So they got it on the Missouri side. You over on the Kansas side, you can get some of the chicken wings as well. It's Gates Barbecue, doing it the old-fashioned way.
This Friday at T-Mobile Center with special guests Gojira and Spirit Box. Korn. Get tickets now at livenation.com. For more, visit kornofficial.com.
Creed. Are You Ready Tour with very special guests, 3 Doors Down and Mammoth WVH. November 6th, T-Mobile Center. Tickets on sale now at livenation.com. Don't miss Creed with 3 Doors Down and Mammoth WVH on the Are You Ready Tour.
The Chiefs, Cardinals, Royals, Blues, and our 2 soccer teams, the Current and St. Louis City SC, are all endorsing Amendment 2. Here's why you should support it too. Right now, Missouri sports fans are taking their money and placing their bets in Kansas and Illinois. We're losing our money to other states, money that could be invested in our schools. Amendment 2 fixes that. By legalizing sports betting, Amendment 2 will generate over $100 million for Missouri schools over the next 5 years. And there's a strong constitutional guarantee ensuring the revenue from sports betting will go to education. Kansas and Illinois know sports betting is a winner for their fans and taxpayers. It's time for Missouri to get into the game. Amendment 2 means over $100 million for Missouri schools. Join the Chiefs, Cardinals, Royals, Blues, Current, and St. Louis City SC in supporting Amendment 2. Paid for by Winning for Missouri Education, Mike Pridmore, Treasurer.
We hear a lot from our patients after we've successfully treated their erectile dysfunction. But one thing we hear the most is, why didn't I get treated sooner? This is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health, and if you're suffering with ED and all the emotional and relationship problems it causes, don't wait. Call us today. ED is simply a medical condition like any other, and for most men, it's fully treatable, which means you can get your sex life back. And I'm not talking about sex that's just okay, by the way. I'm talking about good sex with the ability to enjoy intimacy without the anxiety that affects so many men who have ED. In fact, you might find you're performing like you haven't in years. At Heartland Men's Health, we're ED experts. We've successfully treated thousands of men with protocols that are successful in well over 90% of cases. And we have a variety of treatments and treatment combinations so you can get the one that's right for you. So stop waiting and call us. Your first visit includes blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600 or go to heartlandmenshealth.com.
It's Wrangler season out there. Warmer days, cooler nights. Open roads, endless horizons. And you need to be ready in jeans made for the unpredictable. Wrangler, for the ride of life. Shop our newest styles today at Wrangler.com.
Our Labor Day savings start now at Lowe's. Right now, buy one, get one free on Valspar Reserve or HGTV Home by Sherwin-Williams Infinity or Showcase Interior Paint via Lowe's gift card rebate. Whether you're painting one accent wall or want to freshen up a whole room, we've got you covered. Because Lowe's knows savings. Lowe's knows home improvement. More terms and restrictions apply. See Lowe's.com/rebates for details. Valid through 9/4.
Keep it twisted all year long with Twisted Tea Hard Iced Tea. Twisted Tea is real iced tea that packs a punch with 5% alcohol. Tastes great at the beach, the mountains, or even in your backyard. Look for the bright yellow Twisted Tea cans.
Twisted Tea Brewing Company, Cincinnati, Ohio. Please drink responsibly.
Chiefs coverage is brought to you by Dury Vision. Schedule your free consultation today. DuryVision.com.
Make the best decision ever like I did. That was calling up Dury Vision for a free consultation to find out how I can see better, and in my case, how I could get rid of my contacts and glasses. Give them a call, 913-491-3330, or go online to DuryVision.com.
Tonight, expect clear skies with a low of 42.
Weather brought to you by Robert Half. Robert Half's recruiting professionals use their award-winning AI to connect businesses with highly skilled talent. Learn more at roberthalf.com/talent today.
Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Two-car crash eastbound 70 just before Sterling, closing 2 left lanes. Traffic heavy all the way back to that 435 and 70 exchange. Also still looking at a crash southbound 49 just past Red Bridge Road, closing the left lane. I'm Lori Pearson for 96.5 The Fan Traffic.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison. Weekdays 2 to 6 on 96.5 The Fan.
It is time. It has been a long time. Yep, but it is time. That's right. Rob, if you can fade the music down so we don't sound like we're in a Vegas nightclub right now.
Club 16.
Club Fan.
Club Fan, yeah.
Fan Club. Binkley, do you know what time it is?
Random question time!
Binkley, who would get your vote for the Heisman Trophy?
You know, right now I'm going Travis Hunter. And I know someone texted asking who's Austin Genty is a stud.
He's
Let
incredible.
me tell you this. He's averaging almost a first down every time he carries it. He's going to be brushing up to the Barry Sanders single-season record of 2,600 yards.
I think he's going to break the record.
If he gets to the postseason, if he gets to the playoffs and has those extra games, I think he'll get to it. And people say, has he played any good competition? Well, against Oregon, he had 192 yards. So he has played Oregon this year. That does matter. They have a top 30. They're right at 30 as far as rushing defense nationally. But I'm still going Travis Hunter because of what he does as a receiver. Just one of the better receivers you've ever seen in the country. And he's having a great year at defensive backs. A big reason the Colorado defense turned it around. Matter of fact, DJ Giddens this week was the first time any running back had a 100-yard game against Colorado. I've seen him in overtime pick a ball off. I've seen him cause a fumble at the end of games. Like, he's been a difference maker for that team. But Travis Hunter, to be playing offense, it's not like he just sneaks in a few plays on offense.
No, he'd
be playing the whole game.
He's the best receiver in college football.
Travis Hunter's the best player. I know it, but Austin Genty, I'm still going Travis Hunter.
Yeah, I would vote for Travis Hunter too. And
then Genty and then Ward.
It seems to me that we would look back, and this happens sometimes in movies, right? Like Get Out, for example. Like, we think, like, how did Get Out not win Best Picture? Like, what won Best Picture that year? Wasn't Get Out? Like, oh, it's weird.
Or was it?
I don't remember off the top of my head. We're going to look back and we're going to think, man, Travis Hunter, wait, you're telling me that in the same game, he caught a touchdown pass, he got an interception, he played both ways from start to finish, and that guy wasn't the Heisman Trophy winner? Austin Genty has had an incredible season. I would not vote for him to win the Heisman Trophy, not in a world that Travis Hunter exists.
The one good sign, again, they did 192 yards on Oregon, so that did make sense, but Travis Hunter's ridiculous. He's got 4 games, over 100 yards receiving. The guy is just crisp, and to be that energetic when he's playing defense and he's making game-winning plays by picking the ball off and causing a fumble. Unbelievable player. And again, we've seen guys sneak in, play some offense or return kicks, yet they play defense or play a few snaps on offense, but he's doing both the whole time, which separates Travis Hunter being really special.
On a scale from 1 to 10, how crisp do you like your bacon? 1 being extra floppy, 10 being burnt to a crisp. Where do you like your bacon
at? I'd say an 8.
Okay, you're on the crispier side.
A very crispy side. I like to throw it in some drinks, like a Bloody Mary, throw in the crispy bacon. But I love crispy bacon. I don't like floppy bacon. Hate that.
Yeah, I'm actually a floppy bacon individual. Did you know that we are actually having a Bloody Mary bar at work next Wednesday? Did you know that?
I love Bloody Marys.
You should be here next Wednesday then.
Well, I probably will be.
Yeah.
Where? Who's having it?
That's the first I'm hearing about
You know,
it.
you know
didn't
me.
get that email.
You know me and Joanne are tight, so I got to
Really?
see the schedule. I got to look ahead. I got to see the schedule.
Nobody
and I
makes
saw
them
that
like
on
me,
Wednesday.
though. Nobody
where-
makes them like me, man. Celery salt mixed in there. Put a little bacon. Put the little pepperoncinis in it. Little peppers. Slice them up. Put them in there. I make the best Bloody Marys in the world. I've had people say this too because I make really good Bloody Marys.
Yeah,
I'm betting $1 million you don't like Bloody Marys.
I've never had one before.
It'd probably be a good. But it's got vodka in it. You got tomato juice?
No.
If you don't like it, okay, you're out then. You don't like V8? You wouldn't like it.
No.
No, it took a while to get you drinking IPAs, man.
He's also out on Tabasco, if I'm betting.
Yeah,
Tabasco.
no.
Worcestershire
You like
sauce.
Tabasco?
No. I
Man.
don't like any of the ingredients in a Bloody Mary. No, I've never
You don't
had
like
one
a nice
before.
spicy stuff? You don't like that?
I'm feeling that the work Bloody
I love
Marys are
spicy.
going to be trash, though. I don't know what a good one is, but I think I could probably tell you who's not making a good one. The work Wednesday Bloody Marys are probably not hitting the way they need to be hit.
A good one's when you just keep throwing that vodka in, you know?
Are you going to come up here and make them for the company?
I wasn't invited. I didn't know anything about it.
I mean, no one
I
has,
got that email,
they
man.
haven't announced it yet. That's why I'm telling you. I'm telling you.
I saw the costume contest, but I'm not going to wear a costume. I never wear a costume.
When's the last time that you were somebody for Halloween?
I probably 4 or 5. I carved a pumpkin and I carried it around. And that was my costume.
Like 11 or 12. You
Yeah,
just
I
were
don't do
out
it,
on
man.
Halloween?
Yeah, I never participated.
You were just
in it.
out. Okay.
I used to be the guy that sit out there with beers for the neighbor dads, you know? Hey, would you like a beer? Here's some candy, kid. You know.
Who do you got winning? You got Georgia or you got Texas?
I got Texas. I really like Texas this year because I love that talent. It's tough to have Isaiah Bond. Ryan Wingo, I think, is the best. Him and Jeremiah Smith and Ryan Williams is the best true freshman wide receivers. And that tight end they have at Texas, Gunnar Helm, the team's legit.
Is Georgia making the playoff? That'll be 2 losses. They don't. You got to go the rest of the way. You
It's
can't
going to be
lose.
tough. This Georgia team is just not what it's cracked up to be. And we saw that when they snuck by Kentucky.
We'll be back tomorrow. Keep it right here on 96.5 The Fan.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your new home for K-State.